What happens when your pilot fails to launch? I know. Turn it into a movie. That sounds like a great idea to me. Welcome to Just Great Movies as we kick off Trek December. Been looking forward to this Trek December on Just Great Movies. And we're going to start with Star Trek The Motion Picture, a very controversial movie. A lot of fans either hate it or love it. There's no two ways about it. At least we can try and find some middle ground. Thank you to the panel for joining me. Hello to everybody in the chat. We'll catch up with all your chat bits and bobs as we go along. If you want to drop us a super, I'll give you a shout if you do that, definitely. Stickers and all that malarkey. Just to let you know, channel memberships are back because nobody was particularly interested in going over to Patreon, except for Paul Dickinson. So thank you very much. So let's get into it, shall we? Star Trek The Motion Picture, what a great film. Very divisive in the fan universe. Was released December 7th, 1979. Films like The Black Hole were competing up against it. It had a budget of $44 million. And it raked in 139 back at the box office. It was directed by Robert Wise, and Harold Livingston wrote the screenplay. Or was it Gene Roddenberry? Because when Harold Livingston sent the script to one of Paramount's executives who was in Paris at the time, Gene Roddenberry's secretary dumped his script in the trash, and she sent Gene Roddenberry's rewrite of Harold Livingston's script.
Oh, no.
So, yeah. So like I said in the beginning, this was all going to be based on what was left of Star Trek Phase 2. On the intro, we saw actor David Gautreaux, who was Zon, which was a great name for a Vulcan. So Zon was going to be the new Spock, basically. And it didn't really pan out because Star Trek Phase 2 didn't get greenlit. But David Gautreaux was rewarded very handsomely. Apparently, he had a check with a lot of numbers on it because he didn't star in Phase 2. And then they gave him this role of Commander Branch at the Epsilon 9 listening station. And I thought it was a missed opportunity because I reckon he should have played Commander Sunak. Anybody else agree with that? It would have been or kept Zon in it, and he dies in the transporter accident. I thought that would have been a great twist.
Yeah, I can see him as being a good Vulcan. I would have liked to keep him around. But, all of the actors were getting weekly paychecks for Phase 2 by the time filming started, even though they were 12 weeks late. Because every they got more late, with every day of filming, they got 2 days behind. It was really funny. And
it was a bit of a car crash was Phase 2. A lot of things went horrendously wrong, but the upside was a lot of what was in Phase 2, the concepts for like engineering and the consoles and everything else went into Star Trek The Motion Picture. And just for Melvin Deeply, when he gets round to the rerub, I thought I'd stick him a nice photo of Ilea. Wow. Persis Kambata. She was Miss India in 1968 or 69 or something. She cried when they cut her hair off. She kept it in a box.
Clip.
Yeah, it's horrendous,
She's
isn't it?
genuinely bald when they had to shave her locks off.
I
And she had to
wonder
be
if she was
shaved every day.
I wonder if she was bald everywhere.
I think she's prettier bald, to be honest. I wanted to mention Alan Dean Foster wrote the original story that Livingston based his script on, and Gene Roddenberry continuously rewrote during the filming of the movie.
Yeah, Gene Roddenberry did nothing but interfere all the way through production for this. And he just wanted to get his name on something all the way through. If anything came past him, apparently he had a stamp, right? A rubber stamp in his office. And it just said Gene Roddenberry, and he'd go and stamp it on a script. If he saw anything like that, he would just put his name on it instantly.
Yeah, $35 million over budget. This is the last time Roddenberry was able to be hands-on in a movie. And a Star Trek film never cost as much money until Star Trek Generations.
It's interesting that a lot of the budget went on some of the early effects shots. They hired an advert company to do the special effects because ILM couldn't do it at the time. So they went with this company. I forgot the name of it off the top of my head. But when things went pear-shaped, Doug Trumbull came in and rescued everything. He got everything back on track, did a fantastic job. And a lot of the pictures for Phase 2, the Enterprise and whatnot, the nacelles were completely different to what we ended up with. And I found this picture, and I thought this was pretty cool.
The group was called the Abel and Associates Magicam Entertainment Effects Group.
That's it. I remember now.
And they had nothing done by the time principal photography was over. And Robert Wise, like, he had a I was gonna say the S word. He
wasn't too happy about it, was it? And the only effect they came up with was the strobing light effect on the bridge. You know, the Vija probe, what takes Ilea.
Yeah.
That was the only effect that they actually did. But this is interesting. This was going to be the Phase 2 Enterprise. We've got the modern refit style nacelles, a few enhancements to the body, but not many, and the original saucer section. They didn't really upgrade it too much apart from the nacelles and a few extra bits. But I'm glad they actually went back to the drawing board and completely redesigned it, because the refit Enterprise is just gorgeous.
Yeah, this is not nearly as streamlined as saucer section. I'm glad we didn't get this either, because the refit is still my favorite Enterprise.
It is. It's gorgeous. Just some concept art shots here. This was going to be, you know, that not the recreation deck, or is it? No, the arboretum.
It's called the rec deck.
Well, this was going to be, you know, that blue section that's underneath engineering near the front of the secondary hall.
Yeah, the hydroponics.
This is what the arboretum is what it is, and this is what it was going to be originally, like a recreation deck. But the concept art is quite interesting. I like it. It's quite fresh, really. 1970s style. You've got to love it. But some of the stuff actually made it into the film. There's some ideas for the bridge. Look at McCoy. Whoever drew that they've got the grimace nice, spot on there. I don't like the captain's chair, though. That looks a bit too laid back for my liking.
A bit too 70s, but it also seems a bit cramped.
It's a lounge chair. Yeah.
The hieroglyphics around the ceiling are oddly distracting.
Yeah, what's that all about? I mean, fair enough. At the end of the day, it's only concept art. But this actually made it through into the final production. Look at that. That's a concept art picture. That looks like the actual bit from the film, doesn't it?
Right, when the shuttle's coming in.
Yeah, when Kirk and Scotty get out of the travel pod.
It gives you a good sense of scale of the ship that you may not have had from the original television series, too.
The warp core design was perfect, because it shows you, it basically goes through the entire ship.
Yeah.
It shows you how important it is.
And when it was originally released, and that before they tinkered around with it, when Kirk goes into engineering, he looks down into the warp core, and you just see it go down and down and down. It just looks infinite. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I thought that perspective looked really good. Let's
and
crack on
also
with
the
some slides.
other reveals that you get in Wrath of Khan really expand engineering to realize how huge this fucking ship is.
That was all forced perspective.
It was little kids at the end of the warp core.
You know where the EPS conduits go off to the nacelles right at the back? Like Istophobos was saying, they got little kids in engineering suits, and they just used a lot of forced perspective, because can you imagine how big a set would have had to have been to accommodate a full warp core? I found this quite interesting when we actually get into the film. I mean, it was nice that the Klingons were pretty much the first thing you saw on the screen. And those ships
it gave
just
me
look
chills.
amazing.
It gave me chills watching it again because I remember as a kid going to see it, and you get the Klingon battle cruiser, and the detail you get when the ships are going by were simply amazing.
Mm.
Yeah, when I was rewatching, I got to watch the director's cut this weekend, and so I was noticing a lot of things that I probably noticed back in 1979, but I appreciate even more now. And so, as a kid, at least myself as a kid, always refer to them as the Klingon ships with the hat, but I love the detail of the Klingon battle cruiser.
When the scale and perspective, and when, like you say,
Right.
there's the passing shot of the ships, and it sort of like it rotates around, doesn't it? You get like a spin round view of Amar. It's the Klingon battle cruiser Amar, isn't it? And I just thought the detail on the models were fantastic. Anybody know? Sorry,
they still remain true to the original ship design from the original series.
Yeah, that's a really nice part there. Yeah.
Yeah, the universe was already there, and they were true to it. I thought that was a nice touch. Anybody know who that Klingon captain is there?
Mark Leonard.
It is. It's Spock's dad. Yeah, Sarek.
He was the first actor to play 3 different aliens in Star Trek. And the music here, like immediately when we got out of the theater, we went to the record store and bought the soundtrack to this movie.
Jerry Goldsmith did a fantastic job on this.
Well, and you're saying that this is the third role, right? Because of the Romulan and the Vulcan being the first 2 from the television series?
Yeah. He was the first at this point, nobody else had played 3 different aliens. But, they reused a lot of actors, especially ones that were good about sitting for 8 hours in a makeup chair.
Well, what they did, they tried to get as many of the original actors back into it one way or another. Like you've got Janice Rand, she's the transporter chief.
Yep.
Not very good at her job, but we'll find out more about that. But the cue for the Klingons, that stuck in the franchise forever after this, because it was like da 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 da, and that opening music, it was just so strong.
Yep.
I thought that was a fantastic way to bring us back into the Star Trek universe after what was it? It was 10 years off the air, wasn't it? Exactly.
Well, if the cartoon series, it was 6, but for live action, you're correct.
Yeah, in the show itself, it had been 4 years. Did you know that Kirk's nephew is not in this shot, but he's responsible for some of the music in this shot?
Yes, that's right.
Oh,
Craig Huxley, who was actually called Craig Hunley when he played Sam Kirk's son in Operation Annihilate. He invented this musical instrument called the blaster beam, which is an 18-foot aluminum beam strung with piano wire that made all those all those heavy bass sound. He invented that, and they've used it for a ton of movies ever since.
Battle Beyond the Stars with James Horner's score. It's on that as well.
Yeah, it's pretty. Do you know who invented the Klingon language here?
I can't remember. Go on, remind me.
Was it James Doohan?
It was James Doohan invented
that's right. I remember now.
And the Vulcan language. Now, later on, they had that linguist Orkney create a full...
Mark Okrand.
Right. Oh, Okrand? I thought it was Orkney. Yeah. So, but in this movie, they originally shot the Vulcan scenes in English, and Doohan created a Klingon Vulcan language to match their lip movements, and he created the Klingon language. And when the guy did the entire Klingon lexicon and grammar, he incorporated Doohan's words so it was backward compatible.
Wow,
that's good. I like that. That is like really saved him a bit of work by poaching what James Doohan had come up with. In fact, if you remember back to the original series, James Doohan did quite a lot of the voices. He was the voice of Nomad. If anybody remembers that.
Oh, yeah. I didn't know he was the voice, but I remember Nomad. Yeah.
And that episode really ties into the movie since
it does.
They're very similar.
There are lots of callbacks to the original series, but it's done in a very subtle way.
Can I mention something about Doohan as well?
About his missing finger?
Yeah, well, he was a real field. He was in the Field Artillery Regiment of the
He
3rd
was.
Canadian Infantry. He served at D-Day, landing on Juno Beach.
Didn't he get shot 6 times, but he carried on anyway?
Actually, it was 7 because he got 6 more times after he lost the finger of his right hand. Then he was hit by machine gun fire 6 times, 4 bullets in the leg, 1 in his chest that was stopped by a silver cigarette case, and then the bullet that took off his finger.
And he still carried on going. Bless him. What a star. That is Scotty through and through, isn't it?
Yeah. A real
Just keep on
genuine,
going.
a real, military hero.
Thank you to Not Brian Wrenched, who's chucked us £5. That's 2.5 pot knackers. Would just like to give Melvin deeply thanks for helping make tonight possible. All right. Thank you. That's awesome. I noticed this as well. This is the Epsilon 9 listening station, and it just shows you the level of distrust still between the Federation and the Klingon Empire, because they have a monitoring station right on the cusp of the Alpha and Beta quadrant, right? So they can listen into what's happening with the Klingons. So nice to see bridges have been built. Here we go. David Gautreau, who was Zon, if you remember, from the footage from Phase 2. He was going to be basically the new Spock. Apparently, I watched him in an interview not so long back. Anybody see Center Seed?
No.
They have not.
No. Well, it's a TV show that's sort of produced and narrated by Gates McFadden. And it starts right at the beginning and goes through all the timeline of Trek, our Trek, not any of the crappy J.J. Abrams Trek. But he's interviewed and he tells you the story behind him playing Zon. And he had a meeting with Leonard Nimoy. And do you know what Leonard Nimoy asked him? He said to David Gautreau, he says, "How does it make you feel knowing that I took that role away from you?"
Ouch.
Doesn't that sound shitty?
Wow.
Yeah. He called him up personally and had a meeting with him. And David Gautreau was very diplomatic about it. He said it was a very humane thing for him to do. And I just thought, that was really terrible. It was like, I've taken your gig and I'm kind of rubbing it in.
Well, did he ask it like that, or was he, I could see of a way where he could ask him, "Hey, are you okay?"
Maybe he asked it in how does that make you feel that I've taken this away from you? Maybe he was asking it in a concerned manner.
It could be nasty, and it could be just like, "Hey, I'm kind of seeking your permission after the fact,"
Yeah, it's like just making sure everything's okay.
Yeah, it sounds out of character for Nimoy to be like shitty about it. Oops. I mean, snide or
yeah. Oh, it's coming for us. No sausages were hurt in the making of this live stream. Now, this is quite interesting. The Klingons are fighting somebody. Then you're not really given too much to work on, but it says intruder identified, believed to be a luminescent cloud, and it's interesting because in one of the versions, I'm sure it said over 82 AUs in diameter, and that would be ridiculously big.
Yeah,
that's ridiculously big.
They 2 AUs large to begin with. Yeah.
Yeah, and the theatrical it was 82, and then they shortened it down by like 95% down to 2 AUs, right? Or
2 AUs is implausible, but 82 AUs. If you know how big an astronomical unit is, that's like 1/34 of the galaxy. It's ridiculously big.
Yeah, and AU is the distance it's the diameter of the circle the Earth makes around the sun. So 93 million miles times 2.
I mean, it's basically 3 times the distance to Pluto.
Yeah.
It's a little less than 3, but I mean, because Pluto's 39 AUs away. So
as long as it's not Uranus. Anybody find these energy weapons slightly disturbing? How destructive these little balls of light actually were?
Well, they were definitely OP as all get out because, like, the first thing you're treated to when you see this are the Klingons, the big bad, and then there's
Mm.
something that basically swats them like flies.
Well, no messing. Pure plasma energy. But that cloud is absolutely, it's honkingly massive.
Yeah.
Oh, big thank you to Melvin Deeply, who says, not Brian, tweren't nothing. Hello, Melv. Nice to have you in here. I hope you saw that picture I put up for you, because I'm not putting it up again. The the AI might not be too chuffed about it. The graphics were extraordinarily good for 1979 as well. Did anybody think about the on-screen stuff? It was very basic, but really worked.
All of the tactical stuff was like vector. It was, they knew they were competing with Star Wars at this point, and that's why they went over budget, but they really went over budget. But yeah, I left the theater in awe of what this movie looked like.
Yeah, when you compare what we had with the television series and even what was on television leading up to it, like with Battlestar Galactica, the graphics I thought were quite exceptional in 1979.
Just a quickie hello to Hobbyview. Not sure why this showed up on my feed, but I'm here for it. TMP is a favourite of mine. Nice to have you with us tonight. I hope you've become a regular because it's Star Trek December all this month and into January as well, because January, the first week of January, Just Great Movies will be reviewing Star Trek First Contact. And then we're kind of done for Star Trek because that the ones that we're doing are pretty much like the cream of the crop, to be fair. Even photon torpedoes don't hurt these energy weapons. I thought the photon torpedo bits were really good. It was like lightning sound effects, when they were coming out of the photon tubes.
I thought the torpedoes were extraordinarily just the way they had the beams of light coming after them and they shimmered as they traveled. I mean,
and did you notice they stuck with the kind of tradition from the original series? Because the Klingons' energy weapons, photons, were always red, right? And then in this, when they're in the wormhole bit, the Federation ones are blue. But they changed that in Star Trek II, Wrath of Khan, because apparently red was cheaper than blue, and Harv Bennett was saving money.
The torpedo effects were purely optical. They ran fiber optic pole up through a little dot and flashed light through there on the background, and that's how they got that shimmering, twinkling effect.
Anybody notice the recycling of set elements here? That became the photon bay in Star Trek II. The Enterprise.
Yes.
Where they're stood now, if you notice those struts, and then that round bit, what the captain, Mark Leonard, stood on there, that became like the bit where the photon torpedo came down and started sliding on that rack.
Oh, okay, I see.
And you know what really bothered me about Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan? When they're in battle stations and they're getting ready to fight Khan in the Mutara Nebula, when the photon torpedo, but everybody's running around, but there's an officer, and he's just stood like looking around. He looks like he's got his finger up his backside. He just doesn't know what to do.
Go back one, Trev.
They they reused props and sets from this movie all the way up through Voyager.
Did you say go back one, see?
Yeah, just go back one.
That
This demonstrates how utterly terrifying this weapon is. They don't even have a chance to scream before they're disintegrated.
Well, they're not disintegrated if you think about it. They're digitized.
Yeah.
Well, but they no longer exist. But yeah, they're basically being imaged into the Voyager.
Yeah. Patterns have been stored, though, according to the ILEA probe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was worried about
but
that.
Z's right. You don't even have a chance to react.
No.
I mean, you're just like, crap.
You'd toast, aren't you?
You can't outrun it. There's nowhere to go. You're just gone.
Yeah, and the spidery effect of the lightning, it was sort of a very terrifying thing to see on the big screen.
It was effective, though. I mean, people who were into Star Wars or just didn't get Star Trek at the cinema when this came out, they were like, what? They didn't seem too enthused about it. But I was amazed. Although I thought the Vulcan bits were a little bit boring, but how
Really?
they say the language was formed by James Doohan. When she says logic, she says olgica. It's like you can guess what the words are, what they're saying.
That looks like me wrestling with my old man pants in the morning.
Do you wear old man pants now then?
Well, technically, anything I wear is by definition old man pants. So
I don't know. For the last few years, I've been wearing nothing but cargo pants, and I really enjoy them. I need more pockets.
I do
Now,
like the pockets.
Leonard Nimoy, he's our sort of first main character back on screen. And he's looking
Almost
very
really setting the
70s there,
tone.
isn't he?
Yeah, why does he
Yeah.
look like a hippie, man? That's not cool.
Oh, it's the Colonier. If you're referring to the Colonar, you are correct. I love it. Have that bit of a chin wag later.
See, I thought this was Burning Man, and he was just waiting for fish to come on.
Is that what
It's a
Black Rock City
volcano.
looks like? Have you been to Black Rock City?
Yeah, it's a lot of desert, man. It is a lot of dust.
Yeah, I knew quite a few burners back in the day. Anybody else used to frequent on Tribe? Anybody? No?
No.
sir.
There used to be a website called tribe.net, and it was sort of like Facebook's granddad in modern terms. And all the burners used to be on there and used to congregate, but there were all little tribes you could set up and then make friends, and people would join into your tribe. And I met loads of people through that. Some very dodgy people as well, but I've still got some really good friends in real life that I made on that website. And towards the end of its life, I became one of the system admins for it, which was quite bizarre.
Oh, wow. Like the Burning Man community is pretty tight. We used to do this gigantic party in San Francisco back when it was cool.
Well, the
6 months.
decompression.
Yeah, well, everybody would bring their film and the pictures that they took. They do big slideshows. It was sort of like, a halfway point to the next Burning Man.
Mm.
And you would see the movies and that people took, and they do slideshows, and of course, lots of partying materials.
I can imagine.
Did you hear
Elvis
about
says-
the behind the scenes drama with Leonard Nimoy?
Oh, yes, with the likeness rights.
Yes, with the likeness rights. Do you know what the likeness rights were in relation to?
Heineken beer advert, if I remember right.
It was, yes.
Yeah.
Wait, do tell more details. I haven't heard this one.
Leonard Nimoy's likeness was on a Heineken beer advert in the late 70s here in the UK and possibly
you can share
Europe
my
as well.
screen.
Copyrighted material, new AI rules. I would love to, but it will flag it up because it's getting a bit harsh around here at the moment. I don't want to say too much because I don't want to be a victim in the latest shenanigans. Anyway, Spock doesn't achieve Colin R. And it's funny that because they're just about to give him that nice prezi and he stops them. So he's quite honest about it. It's like, no, hang on a minute. I'm not quite ready yet. But I thought the mind meld scene was really good. Although it was very serious and very intense.
Yeah, I mean, listen, this is still my favorite Star Trek movie of all of them, and I like many of them quite a bit. And I still remember being in the theater when we first saw this thing, and just we were starving for more Star Trek, and just every moment of this movie. I get it's not for everybody, but this movie was so immersive, and it really sucked you in to the Star Trek universe. And every moment of this film is an Easter egg to, original Star Trek fans. There's something happening. There's some kind of clue. There's no insignificant moments in this movie. And so while some people find it slow, I was just always completely mesmerized.
Yeah. The thing is, I know it's a slow burn and I know it's very cerebral, but I don't care because this is Star Trek.
Yeah, it's supposed to be cerebral. That's the point. Like, I love Wrath of Khan, but let's face it, Star Trek was not primarily an action series.
This had a production hell, let's face it. I mean, you got Harold Livingston constantly fighting with Gene Roddenberry. Gene Roddenberry, end of the day, Star Trek was his baby, and he wanted to protect it, and he wanted to be a part of it. And the new production at Paramount, they didn't want him involved as much as what he was. And he didn't like that fact. And he kind of rebelled, and he kind of interfered quite a lot. And Harold Livingston quit about 6 or 7 times. But they kept bringing, the Paramount executives kept bringing him back and bringing him back. Right, just a quick comment on this scene before we go any further, otherwise I will forget. Do you know what always goes through my head when I see this scene?
No.
Do you remember the
Disney?
fighter ships from V?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Don't they just look like those shuttles and stuff from V?
Yeah.
Kirk, Admiral Kirk, he's a rear admiral. Do you know any rear admirals, Z?
I know lots of rears that I admire.
Well, that's very good. Kirk meets up with Commander Sonak because he wants a Vulcan back on the Enterprise, based on, I'm told, on your recommendation, Admiral. Thank you. It might not work out very well. You know, you take some jobs and a couple of days in, you realise it's not for you.
It's weird
But it's
because his shirt
interesting.
isn't red.
Yeah, but his badges, though, if you look,
Oh,
there's a bit of red on there. But this is quite interesting. I thought, David Gautreau as Zon in that role, I think that is a missed opportunity there. I did mention it off air when we were in the chat, if you remember.
Yeah, but he wouldn't have had a very long career.
Yeah, well, the thing is, it would have tied up all the loose ends,
That's true.
And it would have given Zon an honourable ending instead of just being left on the cutting room floor.
Now, am I the only weird one that likes these uniforms? I know they're a bit 70s in terms of color scheme.
The
But
cast hated them.
no,
It was
they're terrible
pretty compared to the
uniforms.
television series.
I don't mind, like when they're on the bridge, when they get the warp drive working, the uniform becomes more relaxed and they're more like T-shirts, like loose fit T-shirts. And I thought they look kind of cool, but these are kind of stiff and rigid.
And they hated them because they took a long time to get in and out of.
Oh, yeah. Especially if you needed to go for a wee. Apparently they were absolute hell. Franco says they look too drab. I kind of agree. But they're all right in a way. I mean, this was like the first Star Trek in 10 years. We didn't care. We soaked it up. We loved it.
Oh my God. That's
the first time I saw that, I just melted. Did anybody else have that like warm, fuzzy feeling like you just, when you love something so much and you get a really good warm buzz from it? That's how I felt.
I still
The whole
get
scene of them
chills.
going around the ship in the pod,
Yeah.
at the time people were like, "Oh, this is over dramatized. The scene's too long." I'm like, "No, it's perfect."
Yeah.
Because you're getting to see all the detail of the ship that you didn't get in the television series. And like I say, it's been so long since it was on the air that no, you needed this extended scene showing us the Enterprise because it's indulgent. It's Shatner, getting his ship back. So
at this point, nobody had seen her for 10 years. We needed this.
Yeah.
We needed the whole build-up, the tension. But when, you do the flyby and Scotty pulls right in front and that that cue from Jerry Goldsmith just sold it completely. And if you look on YouTube, there is actually a video out there that plays the original music, what was used in this scene. The producers felt it didn't have too much of an impact and didn't have enough of a logo. So Jerry Smith went back to the writing board, not drawing board, and he came up with a whole new cue for this scene. And I think compared to the original, this really did sell it.
Now, they did a good job in the book, in the novelization.
Alan Dean Foster?
Scotty flies the pod backwards until the last minute so he can turn it around and give Kirk like the massive reveal all at once. Like he's purposely keeping it out of sight until they get right up to it. And I thought they did a good job in conveying that awe and the spectacle that Kirk must have felt coming home.
Like Scotty said, any man that could achieve that feat, I wouldn't dare disappoint. I thought that was a great line. And then Kirk, when he tries to speak Scottish, it's embarrassing. But
The
look at that.
Scottish
Scotty just looks so proud.
Do Scottish people buy Scotty's accent?
I don't know. Melv, Brian in the chat, and anybody else north of the border. What do you think to James Doohan's Scottish accent? Is it passable?
Was Scottish, right? And then it became
He's supposed to be from. According to form, he's supposed to be from Dundee. So is that a convincing Dundee accent? I don't know. I don't go that far north. When I go up to Scotland, I only go as far as Motherwell and Glasgow at a push.
Ooh, Melvin doesn't like it.
Oh, here we go. We have confirmation from an honest-to-God Scottish man. Melvin deeply wrenched. He didn't pull it off. Oh, that's a shame.
I kind of suspected that because I could understand Scotty.
Ooh, controversial. Moving on. But look at that. Even from the rear, she looks gorgeous. And the ribbing you can see inside of the secondary hull there. I mean, it just looks so convincing. It's palpable. It almost feels like you could just fly in there and touch things, you know?
It really is beautiful.
Oh, Graham's just come up with a good thing here about the Aztecing. Internet Help Desk plays. Wrench says the miniature was painted with small panels of different paints, so it created this beautiful panel effect, which they call Aztecing, by the way, which reflected the light amazingly, and it all got painted over for Trek 2. Well, it did up to a point because they recycled all these shots at the beginning. Harv Bennett, when he went to do the job, the executives at Paramount said, could you do a Star Trek movie for less than 45 million? And he said, hell, for that money, I can make you two. So that's why we got Star Trek 2 and Star Trek 3.
Yeah, wasn't Wrath of Khan only 11 million?
It wasn't much. In fact, The Search for Spock was one of the most expensive Star Trek films in the series. It had more visual shots. I thought it was a superior film. 3 is very underrated. But I love this shot. The only thing that let the travel pod scenes down was the perspective, because they rear projected these Scotty and Kirk, but they look 2D.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. They look a little better in the remaster, I noticed.
Yeah, they tried very hard with that, and they got rid of all the chroma key edging.
Yeah, the matte lines.
Yeah, they got rid of all of that, and the Earth shots as well, because the transition between Space Dock and the Earth was kind of dodgy. And do you know what I love most about this scene here? Several things, actually. You get a good look at the Aztecing. You can see the panel lines between the sections. You get that. Oh, that docking port is fantastic. It looks as though it's the real deal. But what sells this scene for me is the little porthole there, and you can see somebody inside operating something. How cool is that?
Yeah, that's actually pretty cool.
That is attention to detail.
It's very reminiscent of 2001 to me, the way
it is.
A lot of this movie is reminiscent. I had
there's a reason for that.
Stanley Kubrick while I was watching this on Friday.
There's a reason for that. Do you know why?
Yeah, Douglas Trumbull.
Yeah, Doug Trumbull, because he ended up being the effects supervisor after that first batch of guys spent $5 million on a strobe effect, which didn't sell it very well, and they got fired.
Didn't they bring in John Dykstra as well?
They did as well.
Yeah. That's like the two. That's like,
Well, he was the man after Star Wars because he did that, and he did the effects on Galactica. I mean, the turbo launches on Buck Rogers and Galactica were just, honestly, look at it now, it looks dated, it looks cheesy, but at the time, those effects blew me away.
Yeah, absolutely. The launch tubes were some of the coolest stuff.
And I always hear that sound effect, that, and then you get the, and they only made one change to the sound effect for Buck Rogers. Because they used the same sound effects for the launch effect. And the only difference was They added like a, as he was flying past stuff in the launch tube. They actually had like a sound effect to give the effect of him speeding past stuff. Which reminds me, the best John Dykstra launch scene for me out of everything was in the feature version of Buck Rogers. Where Buck wakes up and he's leaving the Draconia.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he's like, he's still kind of, his eyes are like dustbin lids, aren't they? Because they over medicated him, didn't they? If you remember.
Yep.
And he's like, woo! With the look on his face when he gets launched tubed, it's just amazing. Anyway, drifting off subject, but that was a great little tangent. I thought this scene was really like powerful. Kirk goes into the turbo lift. I wanted to say travel tube then, Z.
Now,
I bet you can't guess where I've been watching a lot of lately.
What have you been watching a lot of lately?
Space 1999.
Space 1999. Yeah.
they were using a lot of special lighting and makeup techniques here in order to minimize the
look
look
younger.
of the aging. So he used a lot of what's called clamshell lighting, which is lighting from overhead and underneath, which is why you see the softer shadows. And I thought it doesn't look noticeable that they're trying to hide their age. It looked very natural.
Oh my. They all look kind of good. I mean, I know they were all concerned about the big gap in time from the original series up to the movies. But do you know what always disturbed me about this scene?
No.
The guy there next to Uhura, he looks just like Al Bester. It's just scary. Anybody?
Babylon 5.
I've no idea who Al Bester is.
Babylon 5.
Yeah.
He was a side cop in Babylon 5.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, he was still younger here. He didn't quite have the the jowls.
Put the black uniform.
Did anybody have the unfortunate experience of watching him in Moontrap? His one and only debut as a leading man.
No, I missed that one.
It's got Bruce Campbell in it.
Never heard of it.
Wait, Moontrap, is that the one where he's no, maybe I have seen. Is that the one where he's like in outer space and he comes back and like his sidekick is Gabrielle from Xena Princess Warrior, or is that a different film that
it might be a different film, but it sounds quite similar.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm
Bruce
surprised
Campbell's
I've seen a lot of his movies. Yeah.
Well, he shows off because Walter Koenig, he's got can you remember the handlebars for push-ups thing they had in the 80s?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He was on a set of those and he was going for it, and it was like really doing a tough set. But he was like just showing off how hard he was. And hairy. he's really a hairy guy.
Huh.
Well, I've never heard of this movie. I'm gonna have to definitely check it out.
Moontrap, Bruce Campbell, Walter Koenig. It is a solid B. I mean, we're talking Charles Band level of movie, like a Blue Moon.
It says space shuttle astronauts, Walter Koenig and Bruce Campbell, are lured to the moon by alien robots who need human parts.
Yeah. Imagine it's a
I'll buy
kind of,
that.
it's like a soft version of Mark, is it Mark 13? Anybody? Hardware. Anybody ever see the movie Hardware? It's a bit like that, but like a PG version.
Ah, yeah.
We might have to do that on Just Great Movies one time. Hardware is a fantastic. Is it what? I'm just trying to think what the robot was called. Is it Mark 13?
I can't remember. It's been years since I watched it last.
Yeah, I think Sky had something to do with making that. Sky and Channel 4. Anyway, this is
the one that's they sued 2000 AD sued them because they stole a Future Shock.
Really?
I'm pretty sure they did. Yes.
Alien Apocalypse is the film I'm thinking of, but it's like I say,
Probably.
you can confuse them very easily.
I forgot to say Drock to that one. Oh, which reminds me, a friend of mine's got a 3D printer. Do you know what he's going to print for me?
An Ilea life-size doll?
This is for Z. He's going to print me 3 things. They're very small. They kind of look like big SIM cards.
No, I completely lost. What is it?
Biochips.
Oh, biochips. I have a set of those.
1, 2, and 3.
As pins.
Oh, cool.
They're really nice.
Any news on the Duncan Jones movie yet, Zig? Because it's all gone a bit quiet.
Yes, there was a Facebook update the other day. They're finished.
Right. Well, I'm in that group, and it didn't pop up. Although Facebook's not that good. Bad news for the guy from the Tales of the Brass Monkey. That's Stephen Collins. He plays Will Deckard. He's Commodore Deckard's son. Remember him from the Doomsday Machine?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trev?
Yeah.
You were correct. It was the Mark 13, as in M.A.R.K, a self-rebuilding homicidal cyborg.
That's the one. Do you know, engineering was just fantastic as a set. Like we were talking about earlier about the Force perspective. This set and the sound effects and everything were just... That walk court had a delicious hum to it, like... Woo. And yet, in subsequent films, they didn't use the same sound effects.
Yeah. If I'm correct, they actually made no reference to his father in the movie, but it was all over the script and in the novelization that he was Deckard's son. So
yeah, I thought that was a good tie-in to the original series. Oh, this scene coming up it freaked me out, and every time I see it, it still freaks me out. Well, this is great. Kirk and Scotty are exchanging glances because Deckard's gone off in a huff. And red line on the transporter, Mr. Scott. Transporter, do not engage. Too late, they're beaming now. Then we go on to Janice Rand, who makes her one and only appearance. Well, she makes 2 appearances in this film, but they're both transporter scenes because she's now the transporter chief. But there's a faulty module for the transporter, so the pattern buffers don't work. Now, pattern buffers are very important. If anybody knows what Chief O'Brien says quite a lot about the pattern buffers, you'll know how important they are indeed. They're more valuable than the Heisenberg compensators. And patterns don't merge together properly. So these people are basically getting blended. Not together as one eye, not like a 2-Vix. If anybody remembers that episode from Voyager.
Yeah,
what?
He had it coming.
Yeah, or The Fly.
Oh, yeah, Seth Brundle. Or were you thinking about the original, Esther?
Oh, no. I was thinking the Jeff Goldblum one.
The David Cronenberg one from 87. Yeah. That is a great film. Do you know what always disturbed me about the original? You know, when the guy's in the spider web at the end is, help me. My mate at work, right? If I go on about that, it scares him to death now. He's nearly 60, and that it just scares him the hell. I've never known anybody lose control irrationally like that. But
Robin Williams referenced that in his stand-up album, even. The Fly, help me.
I miss that guy still.
He's a once in a millennia genius.
I also miss Freddie Mercury and David Bowie. In fact, I underappreciated David Bowie. He was ahead of his time. It was a bit of a prophet when it came to the internet. And a lot of what he said has come true and come to pass. But I always, now he's gone, I miss him, you know? Because
he originally wanted to be a folk singer, and his producer said, you need to go with what you're good at and kind of let loose.
Have you ever heard The Laughing Gnome? That's David Bowie. Anyway, this is just horrible. It's horrendous, this scene. These people are obviously in a great deal of agony because they're just... Every part of them has been just rearranged like every 2 or 3 seconds, and not in a good way. They're very fluid. The lady screams several times, but Sunak remains a Vulcan right to the very end. The squiggle on the left is the new Enterprise science officer. Sorry, Esther, you were saying?
Oh, just this movie was rated G when it came out in the American theaters, and that means suitable for everybody, little kids. This scene was horrifying.
It was. It was disturbing. Even now it disturbs me. When I see it, I watch it with a morbid fascination.
And the line that he says, what we got back didn't live long. Fortunately.
Yeah.
I kind of thought maybe that's a PG moment, but
the recreation deck set was absolutely monstrously huge. but it was just, I don't know. For the amount of things they did with it, I don't think it justified the scale and grandeur it got. Anybody else think that?
Well, I think you get it from the multiple scenes where you see large sections like this, like when you saw the hangar bay in here, because then like when they're cutting to the screen and what's going on with Epsilon 9, and then when Stephen Collins is walking through with Ilea and they're, the gaming and stuff, I think you get the sense of scale. But like I say, for the amount of money that they spent, maybe you could have done more, but all the people in that room, do get the sense of scale, because other than talking on the communicator to the entire ship, like you would see in like the Next Generation, where Picard would just say, "Hey, here's what's going to happen," and even with him in the original series, you've done that before, so you need to do something different. And so he's taking over control of this ship again. And so, hey, I just showed up, and guess what? We're going to go on a mission that might kill us all. So I think you need the face to face, and so it serves its purpose. I don't know what you could do more with it, though.
Yeah,
And
and
it
this
was
is the first time we ever got a real sense of scale for the Enterprise. So,
Right.
just because they didn't use it, in your imaginations, they're using it all the time on the ship. And those people in the foreground, they're not extras.
They're
No,
all
they're
fans.
fans.
They are
Yeah.
Star Trek fans. Yes.
One of them is the lady what started pretty much the Star Trek fan club in the United States.
Yeah, Mary
Trimble.
Jo Beth Trimble.
Yeah. And I like that, how they did that. They incorporated, the people who had been diehard since the show went off the air. These were the people that were writing to the network, not just one letter. They were writing several letters a week. And what network was it? Was it on NBC or ABC?
CBS.
It was.
Was it?
Was
Oh,
that-
was it? Yeah. Was it CBS? I thought it was on NBC.
Hold on. I thought it was
And
CBS.
we got letters back.
Really?
Yeah, I saved mine for many years, but I lost track of it. Yeah, because I was part of that letter writing.
You're right, Trev.
campaign.
What was it, Gamer?
NBC.
It was
NBC.
yeah.
Yeah, so people were writing to NBC nonstop. And, if it hadn't been for Lucille Ball, we wouldn't have had Star Trek in the first place. So well done to Lucille Ball.
Yeah, I was writing to Desilu Studios, actually.
Look at this. You get another feel of scale here.
Yeah, that really does it. And
Doesn't it?
notice the subtle alien, it's not just notice there are plenty of like oddly alien people in the background, and
Yeah, in that back row, you got a guy with kind of a blue head there.
Yeah.
looks like Michael Myers is in there somewhere.
Yeah. Johnny Out says the film was triggered by the success of Star Wars. I agree. And they didn't want to be a copy, so it was more of a space drama. That is a great comment. Yeah, I agree with that wholeheartedly. Oh, yeah, that blue guy. And what's with the guy on the right at the front there? What the hell kind of Starfleet suit is that?
It looks like, kind of like one of the radiation suits, a little puffy. But
Yeah.
see what I mean about the uniforms? I don't think they're drab at all for a functioning, working quasi-military organization. You're supposed to be a little drab, right? It's not a fashion show. It's
Well, if I've just remembered where I've seen that uniform before. In Star Trek 2, after the Kobayashi Maru simulator scenes, there's a guy mopping the floor, and he's got that must be a janitor suit.
Oh, maybe.
Somebody's got to clean up the holodeck,
Yeah.
Wouldn't want that job.
And if you notice, above Kirk's right shoulder, there's a couple of Native Americans there as well, which I think is quite cool.
Yeah, you can see the headband and the braids, and
Yeah. And this, for 1970s, there's quite some hot chicks in there too.
yeah,
Sorry to
and
be sexist.
we managed to get organic diversity that doesn't feel shoehorned in.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, apart from the lack of aliens.
I don't know. There's a few in there. Well, they
No.
got some in.
The majority of aliens are humanoid in the Star Trek universe. That's just how, and they have a reason for that much later on. But
Now, if you notice, there's a guy, right? If you look to the right of Kirk's head, doesn't he look like he's dressed as Luke Skywalker? He looks like he's in clothing you'd see in Tatooine or Bespin.
Oh, there you go.
You see him?
The little Vulcan guy looks like he's wearing scrubs.
He does, doesn't he? And I'd like the communicate. Nobody really noticed the communicators. They were all wristband-worn devices.
They were. I had the toy version.
Ooh.
The guy behind the scrubs guy in the dark shirt, that's Hudson from Aliens. He's like, we're doomed.
Yeah. And there's a guy next to the space janitor in blue. Kind of looks like a Vulcan version of Matthew Broderick. Oh, here we go. Commander Branch transmitting from the Epsilon 9 station. They get their first sort of like nudge with what's crack-a-lacking. Doesn't end well. Oh, look. Oh, there's a lady Indian as well. She looks quite hot.
A lot of forehead aliens, you know.
Yeah. Well, I'd tell you something. This is like proper post-disco, isn't it? I like it. It's like everybody's got rid of the afros. But yeah, it don't end well for Epsilon 9. Actually, you don't see it get hit by the plasma weapons, do you?
You see it digitizing.
Yeah, but you don't actually
impact,
see
yeah.
any of the plasma devices hit the station. It's like as soon as the cloud touches it, it just starts being digitized.
And man, this thing is huge too. They do a great job with the little spacewalking dude to give you the sense of scale. This thing.
Although
is
there's one dodgy
miles
bit
off.
where his arms go like Dick Jones a little bit. Did you notice?
Yeah, the little jiggle right before.
Yeah. When he's flying towards the camera.
But that thing is massive, and you really get the sense of it.
Well, that was it. That was David Gautreau out of the Trek universe. He'd done his bit for King and Country. And he got a good ending, I thought. You know, Gene Roddenberry fought his corner massively because he believed in having Zon as the new Spock.
I just had a terrifying thought. When they remake this movie, Cynthia Erivo is going to be Ilea.
Get out.
No.
Get out. How dare you. I'm doing the spit of shame. We're introduced to Navigator Lieutenant Ilea. She's a Deltan. And apparently Deltans generate a pheromone that men just can't resist. It's like she's been sprayed with impulse. And yeah, everybody wants a piece, whether they want to or not. Even Sulu was interested, which amazed me.
Yeah, that big smile on his head. They sort of ripped this off for the Orions and Enterprise.
I agree. But look at those sets. That's 1970. Well, this would have been 1978 into 79. The level of technology and the sets and the monitors and everything. That just wow. This just screams of that Starfleet future I want. And I love this scene. I noticed they cut a lot out, didn't they, in the DVD, the second DVD release of this. They cut this. They cut a few bits out, didn't they, out of this scene?
Yeah, there are so many versions of this. They have the televised version, which has 12 extra minutes.
That's the ABC edit, apparently.
Yeah, exactly.
And that was the one. That was the one that made it over here and was shown on ITV in the UK. Cool. So well, that's the one I grew up with.
That's part of how they financed the film. They gave ABC first broadcast rights for and they contributed toward the production costs.
You would have thought historically NBC would have fought for that, to be fair.
Hey, they're the ones that canceled it. Screw them.
Well, yeah, true, I suppose. But interestingly enough, did your version have, you know, when Kirk goes after Spock when he goes out into Vija, and he can see the scaffolding, the set is incomplete. There's no matte painting behind him to fill in the gaps in the Enterprise hull.
Yeah, you can see the ribbing from the studio, and he's in a different spacesuit, I think.
Yeah, Z's laughing at that one. Go on.
I am. I just find it amusing.
Do you remember that?
I do.
It's good. Well, anyway, we get
several versions of this.
I love this transporter effect too. I kind of think it's cooler than the other. I want to point out at this point the amount of love and respect to the lore and what came before that
It
everybody
respects.
involved is showing. That's what we
It,
don't see these days.
it's got respect, and I like that. It honors where it came from, and it's true to where it came from. Oh, look, there's Mary Ann Chase there.
She looks like she could be his mother in this shot. And remember, she was young and he was the old man on TOS.
Thing is, in Star Trek 3, when the Enterprise pulls into Space Dock, she looks so much younger than she looks there. Isn't that weird?
They saved all the soft lighting for Kirk, and she's standing in
Yeah.
harsh. She's standing in that harsh throwaway light that's moving off.
I
her
like
spine.
how the movie franchise was very respectful of Grace Lee Whitney. Sorry,
Yes.
I keep wanting to call her Mary Ann Chase because that was her real name. She had a bit of a sad life, bless her. She had a lot of demons.
Drug and alcohol problems, and Leonard Nimoy and William Shatner both sung her praises and wanted her in the movie. And
apparently, according to several rumors, she went through Tinseltown faster than a stolen Porsche. Well, that's a different story for another time. And I love this when Bones comes onto the Enterprise. It's like he's been waiting 10 years to have an argument with somebody on set.
Just to say, see, I told you those things weren't safe. I've been complaining about them for 3 years, and now.
Can you remember the lines he gave? Now, just wait a minute, Admiral, sir. You're revered Admiral Nagura. And it goes on about being drafted.
Yeah, rarely used, unknown
reserve activation clause.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
this was
like,
you.
Nope,
this was you're doing. In fact, there's certain bits in the scene. He starts sounding like Richard Nixon.
Who, DeForest Kelly?
Yes. In other words, they drafted me.
Yeah. You're right. Yeah.
Oh, well done. You delivered that line fantastically.
And his little he's wearing his little hippie medallion and belt buckle kind of thing.
Yeah.
I love how they all go off and be hippies after the show.
Whoever designed, I can't remember. Did they bring William Tice back for the clothing? Because I've noticed.
Sure. I know he did it in TNG.
Because I've noticed there's a bit of a theme here. Because old men are on show, if you know what I mean. The old dingly
They're
danglies.
a bit snug, aren't they?
Yeah, you can see a purple-headed mountain, a bell-shaped crest in a lot of pants.
This was Robert Fletcher working on the design.
That's it. Robert Fletcher. I remember now.
Yeah, William Tice.
Yeah, he came back, as Z said, for was it season 1 and 2 of Next Gen?
Yep.
They absolutely hated. They hated those costumes. Well, that's the story for another time. Yeah, the Aztecing history. Graham did mention that earlier. But to anybody in the know, that's called Aztecing. And it's just such a great effect. In fact, a lot of things back in the 70s and 80s had Aztecing, if you remember.
Well, it helps. I wouldn't say quick because it's difficult to do, but it gives a lot of model-like detail without having to actually build the detail in. You have the physical ship panels, but on each individual panel, you have different levels of iridescent lacquer that gives it texture that makes it just look that much bigger. When it's all smooth, you don't get the sense of scale.
Yeah. Argentum. I like that comment. I'm not putting it up on the screen, but very well played. I like that as wordplay goes. Graham says in the chat, costumes by Robert Fletcher. And he also says the charging of the deflector dish looked really cool as well. Yeah, because they always start off like yellow and they work their way up to being blue, the more energy that's put through them. And I liked how in First Contact, when we get the Sovereign class Enterprise, the Enterprise E, how the deflector dish was actually yellow in that. And I thought that looked really cool.
Yeah, the blue look of the deflector dish in here is amazing. I actually have an ornament that I got for Christmas one year that my then girlfriend sought out for me. It's just amazing looking.
You've had a very charmed life. None of the women I've been associated through during my lifetime have ever fully endorsed my love of Trek.
Oh no, she knew going in. Going in, I've actually gotten a few ornaments that way. I have a bird of prey that way, original, and a few others. So yeah,
I'm hoping that the next person I zing on loves Star Trek, loves Blake 7, loves going to Comic Cons, loves reading comics, loves video games.
likes old Doctor
Basically,
Who. You know,
no, Doctor, anything pre Colin Baker is
plus I say
acceptable.
old. Yeah,
Because Colin Baker, that was end of days. Christopher Eccleston, he really brought it back. Tennant, he tried to be the new Tom Baker and didn't pull it off. I wasn't keen on Matt Smith, and Peter Capaldi, wow, he just blew me away as Doctor Who. In fact, there's a picture going around of Peter Capaldi in his bedroom in Scotland, and John Pertwee sat on his bed. Anybody see that going around on social media this week?
no, I've not seen it.
Because
Wow.
Peter Capaldi was the head of the Doctor Who fan club in Scotland
Oh,
Wow.
at 17. And he became firm friends with John Pertwee, which is, I always said, he was very Pertwee during his performance. So Pertwee must have been, calm down, Graham, in the chat. And Franco, I agree with that sentiment. Argentum says, everyone knows I'm a woman, right? I worry many a dude who doesn't love a Trek. Oh, I won't marry any dude who doesn't love Trek. Gentum, I am single now. I'm separated from my wife. So if you're interested, I'm on the lookout for love at Warp 6, preferably.
I'll bum you.
You're gonna have to
No, you
fight
won't.
Smiley for Argentum, I think.
Really?
Yeah, do you have a beanbag chair that you can roll up on B-sides? And
I don't think I can compete with somebody who's wet as an otter's pocket. Hello, Smiley.
Yeah,
I love
remember-
Smilex.
Capaldi was in the best season of Torchwood as well, and he was
Yes.
amazing in that. He played such a different character, but
Mm.
Children of Earth.
Did anybody find this scene a bit breathtaking when the sun rose behind the Enterprise as she left Earth orbit?
Yeah, the effects really are amazing.
Yeah, this was.
You don't sound very convincing, see?
Oh no, they really are. I'm just very, very chillaxed this evening.
That's all right. We don't mind. And I thought the musical cues were good. It was very light, very springy, like Rebirth and everything anew. And I really like that. Departure angle on viewer. Oh my, there's no men. And I love these sets. I mean, they just, God knows what all those buttons do, but they do, obviously. But these are what's left of Phase 2, and I think they're really good. I've actually, the captain's chair, I've actually got the plans on my phone, the original blueprint plans for that on my phone, if anybody wants them.
Oh, cool.
just
The
let me know.
green dome in the center of the bridge that's on the ceiling that you kind of
Yeah.
see? Originally, that was supposed to be a holographic dome with a little model of the Enterprise inside, but they
Really?
didn't have the budget for that. Yeah.
The flyby shots were really good as well, going past Jupiter.
These
At
were
full
brilliant.
impact.
Like, it really looks, again, reminiscent of 2001. The planets look real.
Mm.
It really
Yeah.
looks amazing, especially the Jupiter flyby and how fast it looks like it's going.
Anybody know which moon the Enterprise is flying past there? I do.
Europa.
Well done. Correct.
Thank you.
The ice moon of Europa, which is colder than Hoth in January.
Yeah, why didn't they stop and say hi to the monolith on there?
I don't know. Maybe it was on a coffee break. And I like this. Jim wants to get to warp speed so he can get to intercept this thing, what might be attacking Earth later. And I love how McCoy goes, Jim, you're pushing. Yet again, you've got this thing here where Kirk is like the courage. McCoy's the heart and the instinct. And Spock's just like the brains and the logic. You know, these guys are the holy trinity, aren't they, of sci-fi?
I had to check
Yeah,
my
and-
dates to confirm when you were go back to that Jupiter shot, because I figured they got them from the Voyager probes. Voyager 2 passed Jupiter in July of 1979. So I think the timing of this, especially with the whole V'ger thing,
Yeah.
that was for me, it was very timely because I was very much into the space probes going to Mars and everything, and then to Jupiter and the outer planets. So this scene it hit me at the time, but like I said, I couldn't remember off the top of my head the dates. So when you said the movie came out in December of 79, is very time appropriate.
I love this. Skyfire 85, attempt no landing. Ooh. 2010. That is I'm gonna have to do that. I think third film in January 2010.
Ooh,
Anybody disagree with me on that?
that's a good film. Yeah,
Because that is a gem of a movie. And it's even got Laugh While You Can, a Monkey Boy in it.
This shot is just,
It's amazing.
easy to forget the Enterprise is there. It's just gorgeous. Great.
Thank you to Brian for
screen
doing the slides, by the way. He's done a fantastic job of the slides.
Yeah.
And this was good as well. The perspective looking down on the consoles as everybody does their job, and Sulu's trying to go into warp. And the sound effects, that building up sound effect.
Yeah.
That was done by Alan Howarth, the other half of the John Carpenter musical team. And you know what he did? And Wayfarer would know this. The sound effect for the building up to warp speed was done on a Prophet 5. There we go. That's one for Wayfarer. He'll love that one. So anyway, this just blew me away when the nacelles lit up blue when they were charged. You see the ship, the impulse engines turn off, and then those nacelles lit up, and then boof, you've got this scene. Wow. Just, this absolutely blew me away again.
Yeah, the audience was dead silent because they've never had a going to warp effect before.
I know.
But since Star Wars, everybody needed to do something special for hyperspace.
Well, yeah, and yet Berman carried on with this because in later films, they kind of did a transition in Star Trek 2. Well, that was down to budgetary reasons because this effect cost a hell of a lot of money, apparently. And they didn't have Doug Trumbull on board because they had ILM. So ILM came up with a few different ideas to save Harve Bennett a bit of cash. And then from Star Trek 3 onwards, you had like a streak effect, the light following behind, which they really used to great effect in Star Trek: The Undiscovered Country. I love those kind of warp trails. The last time we saw one of those warp trails like that was in Generations with the Enterprise B.
Oh, yeah.
And that was a recycled shot of Excelsior from Undiscovered Country. Yet again, saving money.
Yeah, because
anyway,
most of that's just multiple exposure stuff, so it's a lot cheaper than doing the optical.
Yeah. This is what happens when you fire up an untested warp engine. You get an imbalance in the warp field symmetry because there was a slight problem in the flow regulators going to the nacelles. So the warp field was actually unbalanced and they didn't enter subspace correctly, hence creating a wormhole, which was actually not superluminal. And go on.
Oh, it's a little known fact that for the wormhole effect, they used a video of William Shatner's colonoscopy.
Nice. It's very bright in there. Z, do you know anything about this luminescence in a Shatner
I'm
shaft?
getting 5 on my bomometer.
Nice.
Sorry, I thought that was funnier apparently than it was.
They're actually traveling slower than they never went above light speed. In fact, at several points, it's mentioned that the forward velocity had slowed to sublight. And they were subject to relativistic effects. That's why you get all this time effect. Photon torpedoes.
Belay that
phaser order.
Oh, you can see the dome really well in that.
Yeah, that's a good shout. I like that. That is a great set. Whoever came up with that, I wonder if it was Andrew Probert who came up with the set designs. So I know he had a bit of responsibility in the first films, didn't he? Load photon torpedoes. This is a great scene. Chekhov is very underutilized in this film. He gets a couple of little bits to shine, but this whole effect was just fantastic. The only downside is when they've accidentally created this wormhole, and because this is the thing, they didn't want to engage an untested warp drive while still in the solar system. Because if anything happened, it would effectively damage subspace. You know, like that Next Gen episode where they all get knocked out and they're forcibly made to not remember what happened. Anybody remember that
Yes.
episode?
Yeah.
Because warp drive was actually damaging subspace. So that's why they won't run an untested warp engine within the solar system to prevent warp speed from not being able to be used within the solar system on fully tested engine systems. So this is what happens when the EPS energy flowing into the nacelles is kind of not at the same rate. It's like one side's 11 volts and the other side's 9. You get an unsymmetrical warp field, and that symmetry, a warp field has to be fully symmetric. As we later discover, they actually created the technobabble to support this. And I think Rick Sternbach came up with it.
Well, it makes sense because basically you're making a dimensional warp asymmetrical, and you're causing multiple folds to occur in space-time in an irregular pattern or shape.
Mm.
Well,
So
what I
here-
noticed too in the credits is Isaac Asimov was a scientific consultant on this film.
Yes, they asked him his opinion on things. Would this really happen? And it's like, well, yeah. Graham says full impulse is half the speed of light. They'd have to travel for 12 hours at full impulse to leave the solar system. An interesting fact, anybody remember the Enterprise pilot where Trip says to Archer, Neptune and back in 6 minutes? That's what you get with a Warp 4 engine. Well, it was actually the Warp 5 engine, wasn't it, that Henry Archer invented, along with Zephyr and Cochrane. There's your torpedo.
So Harold Mickelson was the designer that did most of the bridge, working on the existing Phase 2 sets. And then a woman named Lee Cole did most of the design of the consoles and screens on the
fantastic stuff. I just love it. Well, there we go. We get the blue photon torpedoes in this film. This is the only time you'll see the Enterprise do that color torpedo. But I just love the whole, the photon launchers and stuff like that. On the Phase 2 ship, it was a single torpedo tube at the front, and it wasn't quite as wide. Didn't look as cool either. Because, like I say, it was a mishmash of the original series Enterprise, but with better nacelles.
Yeah, the launcher looks amazing, and so
doesn't it?
All of the engineering, whole design. They put things on that weren't in the show, like the attitude jets, thrusters.
You can actually see any yellow light you can see on the Enterprise is actually an RCS thruster. Like you've got them all around the bridge section. You've got them there on the top side of the deflector dish. And they're just dotted around everywhere. They look so cool. Anyway, torpedoes destroyed. It brings them out of that unsymmetrical warp field and subsequent wormhole. Kirk he's just losing his thing, isn't he? He's not too chuffed. He feels like Deckard's Deckard. Well, I'm going old Blade Runner. He feels Deckard's kind of chumped him a little bit, doesn't he, in front of everybody?
Well, he kind of did that to Deckard in engineering.
Yeah, well, thing is, there's privilege in rank. And Kirk's a ranker in this particular movie.
He certainly is.
Look at that. Zipped up at the back. Where's Starfleet thinking of? I noticed how Bones is wearing the more casual version of that. Those tunics, they would have been better as pullovers, wouldn't they, instead of zip up at the back? Stop competing with me, Decker. That's what it's all about. It's just a weeing contest between Kirk and Decker at this point. And we keep having these little hints at romance. Decker keeps bumping into Ilea. And those sets are still fantastic. And I don't know who that woman is in the corridor, but she's got a very nice derriere. Anyway, we're all a little bit quiet tonight, guys. Are we okay?
We're enjoying your commentary.
We are.
Oh, well, I don't actually want to talk about what's happening in the film. I want to talk about, how this film made us feel when we watched it, And I love this scene because the Enterprise has to stop because of I suspect it's a courier of some sort.
Well, there's an interesting thing when you mentioned before the Holy Trinity. Like there's a lot of tension in command, and as an audience viewer, I never really felt settled in until, and even when the three of them get together, Spock's sort of preoccupied with the massive intelligence that's calling at him across space. When he finally figures out what's going on and he comes back from the spacewalk, then the three of them are back, and all of a sudden they're working together. There's no more tension, and it feels like, yeah, we're home again.
The band's back together.
Yep.
To coin a phrase. And look who it is. Granted, sir, granted. And Spock's like that song by Foreigner. He's cold as ice. And I noticed, out of all the uniforms from the motion picture, the security uniforms carried on all the way through the rest of the original series movies, along with the engineering suits.
Yeah.
They were the only two costumes what survived. Oh, and the janitor.
And can I comment on the design of the Vulcan shuttle, which is really
sure.
cool.
Let me go back one.
Yeah, it has a detachable warp sled on the bottom, and then it turns into sort of a regular shuttlecraft, and it has the universal docking ring on the back. So as you see in the movie, this thing flips over and docks directly behind the bridge.
And that reminds me, Z has a fully functioning universal docking port, don't you?
I'm also a unit.
A Kirk unit.
Do
Do you know what really annoyed me about this scene? Is how the shuttle sort of like stops halfway and does like a turn and burn maneuver. But it could have done it far more efficiently by just like spinning on its horizontal axis instead of flipping itself over.
Is it Spock's equivalent of doing space donuts?
Yeah, pretty much. Turn and burn. Oh, that reminds me of The Expanse. Oh, Cigar, I'm absolutely glad to see you. Oh, there's that alien guy with the forehead there. He was a bit of a tool, wasn't he, in earlier scenes? He was a big fan of Decker.
Yeah, I do like the design of him, though. He's just alien enough. You can...
But he got gold eyes. He got gold contact lenses in.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a great effect for the 70s.
Yeah, Star Trek has a dubious track record of using contact lenses, though. Gary Lockhart, who played in
Where No Man Has Gone Before.
Yeah, he suffered permanent eye damage because of the aluminum foil glazed on the scleral contact lenses he used. Yeah.
And how did that woman fare? Was she lucky in that respect?
Well, that woman, that's Sally Kellerman. She's super famous. Like, she was Nurse Houlihan on MASH. She came out of it okay.
Is that who it was?
Yeah.
Bloody hell.
She didn't wear them for nearly as long as he did either.
And Nurse Chapel's no longer a nurse. That's Majel Barrett, obviously.
I don't need a doctor
to argue over a diagnosis with me.
Yeah.
And I bet they re-engineered the whole damn sick bay too. I know engineers, they love to change things. Oh, but Spock he's just charming, isn't he? He's like bumping into Richard Whiteley in A Holiday Inn in Bradford.
Yeah, his outfit here is way cool too. I love the.
And did you notice that was the robe he was buried in Star Trek 2?
Yeah.
Which is quite cool, because yet again, Harve Bennett saving money. But Spock's the man, because he knows all about how to rebalance warp engines. Another rather dashing young lady there in the background. Wowzers. There's a couple of posteriors there for your pleasure, Z, as well. There's something for everybody in this show. Yeah.
I like the light filament connection to the panel, too. It's very authentic for a futuristic type ship. I mean,
Yeah,
because
or
we didn't have
fiber
fiber
optics.
optics. Yeah.
And did you notice as well, all the circuitry there is crystal based, like in Stargate?
I did not.
Yeah, because they keep pulling out little crystal rods to make sure everything's all right in them.
Yeah, that would be the holographic circuits that they used. They go on a little bit about that in the book, if I recall correctly. It's been a while since I read it.
But oh my, it works now. Ilea
Yeah.
looks very pensive there, though.
Do you remember what other movie used holographic circuits?
Go on, give me a
It
clue.
was like the 9000 series uses holographic memory.
Oh, yeah, a HAL computer.
Yep. Indeed.
I'm afraid, Dave. I'm afraid. I'm not very good at doing HAL. Douglas Rainey did a fantastic job of voicing HAL.
Yeah, to the point where he thought he was Hal for the rest of his life.
Really?
Yeah, he's a bit of an odd one. Yep.
Do you know who studied with Douglas Rain at theatre school?
No.
Michael Shanks. Michael Shanks studied under him.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. At Stratford, apparently. So that must be something in Canada. I'm thinking maybe not Stratford in Avon.
Yeah, I thought that's where Shakespeare was from.
Stratford is a weird place. If you've ever been, you know, don't you? But anyway, this warp effect is just fantastic. It's totally superfluous, though. It's just there for eye candy. I think the only thing they needed to do here to sell it was the light streaking effect coming off the Enterprise instead of the rainbow starfield thing.
Yeah, but it looked great on the screen, man.
It
and
did.
again,
Thing is, though, when you slow it down, it doesn't look that great. Although I noticed a common theme there. Now, we all know Doug Trumbull did the effects for Stanley Kubrick's 2001. But if you look there, doesn't that sort of like give you the vibes of entering the monolith?
it looks like this popsicle we used to get.
Yeah,
as
when
a
Dave
kid.
is in the shuttle hovering over.
Yeah, when the when the shuttle pod starts entering into the Stargate that's created by the monolith.
Yep.
Oh, here we go. This is got to go up on the screen. They've gone to plaid. I love that. Barf. What that is a great film.
Warp Vector Plaid.
And yeah. Let's go to ludicrous speed. I love that. No.
Anybody remember those popsicles?
Oh dear. Anyway, this is a part of the film where it kind of drifts off a little bit, kind of loses its perspective. But then things start heating up when we actually get into the thick of it. Oh God, I love that red alert. That's why I use it on the beginning of the intro. That carried on through all the way through, didn't it, as well? Red alert.
Yeah, on the Next Generation.
Yeah. Oh dear. Well, I mean, the sets and how the shots are established. Robert Wise did a really good job with this. He didn't understand the material. He wasn't a fan of science fiction in general. I mean, he did West Side Story. He'd had loads of hits cinematically as a director, but he was kind of out of his own depth. Well, I love that shot. That is a fantastic shot. The Enterprise, and you see yet again the scale of the Vija cloud. And yet the Enterprise is massive, but in the grand scheme of things, it's not that big.
Well, especially when we get the shot later on next to the alien ship when the cloud starts to dissipate, you get the
but there was none of that. But if you think about it, when we saw this the first time round, there was none of that back then. You never saw the ship itself.
Right.
It was just the fact that, everything evolved to a higher plane of existence when it was quite a show. But Ilea, she was quite stiff acting-wise, wasn't she? She'd not got a deal of range. I think that's why she was ideal for Ilea, because, I suppose you could rely on the fact that we don't know how Deltans do act, outside of their own culture. And then when she's the probe, she's quite adept. She was quite hot in Megaforce. She was in Megaforce. Anybody ever seen Megaforce, or was it just me what gets wetter than Smilex thinking about it?
Is that the movie where Gene Simmons, where she played a terrorist with him, and they were trying to blow up a bridge?
No,
I
that
can't
wasn't.
say I've seen that. No.
No,
Yeah.
Barry Bostwick in spandex flying motorcycle. Hal Needham film. And it's got oh god, I forgot his name now. It's on the tip of my tongue, and I just can't get his name out. From the Warriors, not David Patrick Kelly. You know the guy who was the leader of the group that James Remar was in. Oh god, what's his name? I can see his face now.
The actor or the character?
The actor. Oh, it's gonna bug me now. I can't remember. Anyway, now they've made
Oh,
contact.
Michael
with
Beck?
That's it. Thank you. I was trying so hard. Atom, great. You are the man, he says there. Megaforce for the win. The old one too, Egg. It's just me and you now. If you know, you know. But it's funny how Leonard Nimoy, well, Spock, can sense the thinking process of the Vija probe. Ooh, I forgot about that. Hobbyview says MST3K did a riff on Megaforce. It did. And Skyfire says Henry Silva, yeah. Atom also says Henry Silva, who plays Duke Guerrera. Hey, Duke, you were always a prince. Sorry, I'm drifting off. So anyway, Enterprise gets to bump into one of these energy weapons, directed plasma weapons. And I love this. The Enterprise is brand new. It's got that new Starship smell. It's lovely. It's like a brand new car, but better. Go on.
It wasn't Gene Simmons. It was Rutger Hauer in the movie Nighthawks. She plays a terrorist opposite of Sylvester Stallone.
God, we love your nerdiness.
Yeah.
You fill in the gaps that we're trying to fill in, but you've got our backs. It's to Phobos, everybody. What a legend. Anyway, a bit of a downside. New shields are working, but it's not good. Not a good day to be Chekhov.
Yeah.
But he
Kind of
gets,
working.
Yeah, it works. And all the energy feeds back out of the EPS system. This is not energy from the plasma weapon. This is actually the Enterprise's own energy interacting with the energy from that device. But this is a great scene. That guy to the left of there, if you watch this scene in slow motion, it looks like he's dancing a jig. I wish I'd done that now, slowed it down and showed it. But when you show a video on here, it just locks everything out for about 10 seconds, which is a bit naff, really. But anyway, they're going to get another dose. But Leonard Nimoy, Mr. Spock, he's quite clever. He's detected the old NASA signal, and he sends a response in the same format. And he's like, if anybody was to look like a smug douche unintentionally, it's Spock right now. Somebody's going to get a text. Who's got the phone next to the mic or near to it?
Oh, not me. I turned mine off.
No, not mine.
Oh, it's got to be Ista then. Oh, we'll let you off. Because he's the man.
That wasn't me.
The new shield's held. But anyway.
Wasn't it an old binary code, but it was sped up so fast that they didn't recognize it? I'm trying to remember.
Well, according to form, it was a kind of Morse. Because how come is it right that they got the old NASA codes? You know, because in the grand scheme of things, you'd got the Third World War, and you'd also got oh crikey, the eugenics wars and everything else.
Well, would this be part of the Daystrom, Institute that they would have recovered, post Third World War? They would have tried to recover everything that would have been lost, but that to recover their knowledge. Because you make a great point. Why would they have this information? Well, they would have gone to every source and recovered as much as they could, because they do have an amazing knowledge of the 20th century, like off the top of their head. Voyager 6, but that's my explanation for it, is that
the information's not that good
for getting everything.
There's a flaw in your logic there, my friend.
What's that?
How come is it they don't know how to spell LSD?
Well,
Well, because it's not space program related. You
Yeah.
know, you
Oh.
figure at Starfleet Academy, they probably did the history of space
Did anybody else
exploration.
do too much LDS at Berkeley?
Well, double dumb to you too.
Yes. So we get some kind of like feeling of scale.
Yep.
I wonder if that's me. let me move my phone. It's these 5G signals. You get a bit of a scale of things here. But if that's originally 82 AUs, that's 93 million miles times 82. I don't think so. 2 is a bit more like it. But if anything, I'd say, even if it was 1, that would be just a reasonable stretch. But if you consider how much time the Enterprise is actually traveling through this cloud, I mean, it's ages.
Well, the
This
V'ger ship itself is 97,000 kilometers long, which is about 12 Earth diameters.
Blooming heck, I did not know that. But it's good. I mean, I love the look of wonderment on Stephen Collins' face. He really sells that just fascination.
I think the whole voyage into V'ger through the cloud and everything else is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
And I get that now, why in future versions or edits of this film, when they remastered bits, why they did what they did. They just recreated what they saw here and interpreted it the best they could. I mean,
Very hard not to make any Stephen Collins jokes whenever he's on screen, but
well, he got himself in a bit of bother and he deserves everything he gets for what he did. And we'll leave that one there.
there you go.
But these models, they're impressive.
Yeah. Well, that previous shot, and even this one, gives you the scale of everything compared to the Enterprise.
Yeah. I mean, the Enterprise is minuscule. It's like an insect.
Yeah.
And they
Life forms
spent
infest Enterprise.
Yeah, and they spent all that time setting up the massive scale of the Enterprise during the first part of the movie, and now you see how tiny it is.
Yeah. I wonder how many Greeblies went into that thing. Well, yeah, again, we get this other shot as well. There's like a massive void inside the V'ger vessel. And the Enterprise it's like a grain of sand. Here we go.
Really
This
is insignificant next to V'ger.
It is. It really is.
Are
Here's
you
$5
supposed
million,
to-
not very well spent.
Are you supposed to be able to see the bottom of that probe? Because you can kind of see the little.
Yeah, well, that's when you spend $5 million creating one effect after 6 months. Where that effects company we were talking about earlier, the TV advert company, was it Digicam or something? Did you say?
Yeah, the Able and Associates. I think they just were
Magicam
ECC for short. Yeah,
Magicam. You said.
Now-
Sorry.
During the theatrical, you could see the little bowl on the bottom where they were lighting the pyrotechnics or something, and I always thought, I don't think that's supposed to be part of the probe. It was supposed to be pure energy, but you could totally see, whatever they were using at the bottom to create the effect.
Yeah, this was a 9-foot, like a big ribbon of strobe lights, and like beacon lights, and it was on a dolly, but that was attached to a pneumatic crane, and you got some guy pushing it around. If you look closely there, the handrails at the front of the bridge. Look how they're not in perspective with each other correctly.
Yeah,
where they've tried to tie in the effect. But this was the most, I don't know, annoying part of the film for me because it really hurt my ears, this scene. I know they're all the same on the bridge, but it really did grind me.
you can do that on your phone in 5 seconds now to make one of those effects.
God. So this V'ger probe, it's absorbing everything out of the Enterprise's database. So Spock does the only thing he can. There you go. Computer says no. Hello, computer. I noticed that was in the chat several times. Somebody, I think it was you, Gamer, that was it. I remember now. When I was talking about my graphics card, God, it was screaming its head off when I was doing the intro and outro for today's show.
Yeah, Max.
Yeah.
Hello,
And then you sent me that GIF. Hello, computer. I love that. That is possibly for me one of the best scenes out of Star Trek 4. So good.
This is slightly reminiscent of, there's shows where people like will shoot the monitor thinking that destroys the computer, but the computer's
Yeah.
not even. I don't really know how smashing the keyboard would really affect anything, but still
Well,
interesting.
unless you go with the crystals, like you were mentioning the crystals
Oh,
earlier.
yeah.
If he smashes it, then
me
you
go
can't
back.
access the panel.
Yeah,
That's the
it
only
does
thing I
look
can think
kind
of.
of crystal
Yeah.
based, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So
It's
yeah,
a
if he's,
giant light bright.
yeah.
Remember those? The little plastic
Yeah.
pegs? Yeah.
Well, wasn't it Lights Alive over here, Z? One of those things.
It's the what
Tome-
one?
Tommy Lights Alive. It like remember
Oh,
that
yes.
kids had. Yeah, so Spock gets a good old shock, doesn't he? This probe doesn't take too kindly to not being able to play Jet Set Willie on the ZX-81 anymore. That guard's about as much use as a chocolate fire guard. Look at him. He spent more time in the corner. Why has he got his phaser out? But even computers must get sexy vibes sometimes because it's rather attracted to Ilea. She's the eye candy for the movie. She is the if you could put this in terms of Star Wars, she's kind of like the Leia. Yeah, she gets digitized. And that's how I define unwarranted, Captain, sorry. And that security guard, he looks about as much use.
Well, what's he supposed to do? Fire a phaser on the bridge, man? He'll hit somebody. There's not really a lot you can do in that situation.
Well, plus
Why
an
didn't
energy
he
weapon
just
against energy. What really is that going to do?
Why didn't they just vaporize them? He would have set off the alarm. That was a good MacGuffin, wasn't it, in Star Trek 6?
Oh, yeah, this is gorgeous.
Did you say nosy?
No, I said yes. I said yes, definitely.
I thought it said no.
I just think it funny if Alea woke up on the grid of Tron after being digitized.
Nice.
Oh dear.
Well, the lightning effects looked better than some subsequent movies where they actually animated it Disney style. And you can kind of tell it looks
like the lightning in Star Trek 5.
This is a gorgeous shot right here, though. My God.
It is. And just as an aside, I can't believe Emperor Jay Goodwin thinks Star Trek 5 is a superior Star Trek film.
Yeah, I don't understand that compared to 3. Yeah, no, that doesn't.
He says no to 3 and 5 is genius. And I'm like, what?
Yeah,
I
just
really?
the genius.
No, mate, you can row your boat to the exit.
Yeah, row. Maybe life is a dream.
Yeah, I wanted to point out the fact that they put running lights on the Enterprise. It's such a cool touch because otherwise it would just sort of be a black silhouette in space.
That's kind
of a mark of the Federation. That's the opposite of the Klingons and the Romulans, that the ship is so lit up, whereas the other races, they don't do that. It's almost, I don't want to say it's not gaudy, but it's kind of like, hi, we're here,
This is psychological. This is showing other races, look, we're open, we're transparent, we've got nothing to hide.
Right.
Let's be friends.
And they open up their gum ports and start a war.
Yeah. But the thing is, what gets me, if you were to think about this like a scientist, like Neil deGrasse Tyson or Brian Cox, this is how the Enterprise would be in space all the time. Because there's no light. Space is very big,
Right.
Unless you're around a planet or you're near a sun, you're not getting any straight radiant light, to reflect off your surfaces. So you'd have to make your own. So just
like Voyager, when they're in between, when they get that to the void, the only light is on the Voyager.
That's interesting. Behind the Enterprise, to the upper right of that picture, those light patterns look like Epsilon 9. Anybody ever notice that?
Oh, I didn't before, but they have that same sort of trapezoid-like shape. Absolutely.
It's like now, once you've seen it, you can't unsee it.
Yeah.
There's not many goofs in this film either, apart from that ABC edit where when Kirk follows Spock later. And there's all the rigging there. There's no matte scene behind him.
There's one that I noticed when Kirk first comes in front of everybody with Aurora and everyone. They call him Captain, but they would know he's an admiral because he's been in charge of Starfleet operations for at least 18 months. So they would already know he's an admiral. So calling him captain,
Well,
I'd like to say
he
it
does.
was just a small thing.
Well, he does say he was head of Starfleet operations for 2.5 years, but when he took a temporary grade reduction to captain, and anybody commanding a starship is technically the captain, if you know what I mean. There's some kind of
Right.
Starfleet ruling. But yeah, again, like Esther was saying and you were saying, you get this idea of forced perspective again. You know, the Enterprise, how minuscule it is against the Vija ship. And look at that. That just go back to that. I love that. They kind of took a bit of a nod there from Alien. You got like that airlock closing up and opening up and going back.
Yeah, it's actually referred to as the V'ger orifice. So I wondered
Yes,
what
it is. You're
Z
right.
thought of that.
Anyway, red hot sonic shower. Would you like to take one with Ilea? You are the Kirk unit. You will assist me. We're getting a bit MST3K, aren't we, with this now? Sonic showers rely on sound, not liquid. Why is she wet?
Fan service.
Yeah, maybe so. Maybe she was thinking of Smilex and she got all wet and moist like an otter's pocket. Never gets boring. How did she come out of that sonic shower in a gown? It just formed around her, didn't it?
It
I think she
replicated for her.
digitized it.
Yeah.
Maybe so. Maybe she should have digitized some shorts or something because
No,
that is
no,
right.
no.
That is right to the cusp without getting too tasteless. Now there's new rules in play. Thank you for that.
I like it just the way it is. Thank you.
It doesn't leave much to the imagination. And yet again, she cried. It broke her heart having all her locks shaved off. She kept them in a box for 6 months.
I'm with Istophobos though. She looks great with the bald head.
It's quite fetching, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I like this scan. Her body's been recreated, but with electronics and technology, down to the littlest detail. What did they say? Osmotic micropumps. And what was it? Something atom-sized neuroprocessors? It was very
molecule
technical.
size.
Yeah.
That was it, yeah. I like this. This is very good. And this is when we get that first nod. There's still a bit of her in there, even though she's been digitized. Because, you know, she still fancies Will. There's always like that connection, isn't there, in Star Trek? There's always that underlying tense chemistry of love. Love conquers all, everybody. She does look quite biffy, to be fair. Even eye moisture. Oh, Skyfire, that is good. A geek quote to geek quote the geek quoters. I like it. Hobby View. Yes, I agree. I'm a fan of those. Those and the ZZ Top version.
A little bit of overkill for a sex robot, though. That's a lot of work.
Anybody
I'd hate to see what those
notice?
cost on Amazon.
Anybody notice a bit of the set what wound up in Next Gen? Can anybody see it?
The sort of the rounded portals.
You know, in the background, don't you? Those like greyish tinted boxes with the blue stripes.
Yeah.
They went into the transporter in Next Gen. That's where they had all the isolinear chips. If you remember.
Oh.
Can you see it now? Another one of those things. Once you've seen it, you can't
Once you
unsee
see
it.
Yeah, they have one on the floor in engineering where Data pulled all the chips out and had to put them all back in.
No, it wasn't Data. It was that Asian chief engineer's assistant.
Yeah, she pulled them out, but he put them back in.
No, it was a guy. It was in the that rehash of Naked Now, wasn't it?
Yeah. Oh, I don't remember. I just remember Data putting them back because he was.
Yeah, because he was still a bit new. It was still a bit Newton List, wasn't he? At that point, it was still a bit. It's still fully functional though. He's got multiple
techniques.
I knew you knew that one.
That's what happens when you have a contract go to the lowest bidder building your door. Look at that thing.
Do you know, Tasha Yar could have caught some kind of virus. I want to go back and rewatch that episode of Next Gen where Denise Crosby's in the background in the shuttle bay and waves at the camera, knowing that she's out in the next episode. It's the episode before Skin of Evil. Did anybody else notice that?
No.
No, I've not even heard of that.
Yeah, let me try and find that while we're on air. Sorry, I've got a mechanical keyboard.
That would have been Symbiosis, right?
Maybe so. You have me at a disadvantage there, sir. Let me see if I can find.
Yeah, Gavin Blackburn thinks it's Symbiosis too.
It is Symbiosis.
Oh, I can see her in the background, but there's not one of her waving. There is actually a scene of it. She's in the background in the shuttle bay. And as they're walking out, there is a YouTube video.
I've got it here if you want it.
Yeah,
I see it.
I've got a picture. Let me just download this. Let me just download. WebP file. Why?
Yeah, Beverly and Jean-Luc are way in the foreground, and she's behind over his shoulder, waving by.
Yeah. Let me see if I can find this and stick it up on the screen. But it's not very convincing. That's not it, is it? No, I don't know where I've put it. This must be it. I hope this isn't anything embarrassing. There we go. Denise Crosby waving bye-bye, knowing that she'd die in the next episode.
I was not happy when that happened.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of conjecture about that story, isn't there?
Yeah.
Because Denise Crosby says one thing and Rick Berman says another thing entirely.
That's almost always the case when somebody leaves a show, too. I can't recall the last time I heard where both sides were telling the same thing.
Yeah, there's one story where apparently he takes her comm badge off her. And they had a bit of an exchange on X, and she says, "Oh, is it still on your desk?" They're all the ships that were named Enterprise. Shame there's no NX-01 on there for some reason.
It's been a long time.
Don't you dare. No. That, Rick Berman sticks his hands up in the air and says, yeah, you can blame that on me, but it was network pressure. That's the only reason that's even there. Those legs, indeed, she has a cracking set of pins.
Yeah, the Enterprise from Enterprise really should have looked like the second one from the right, but they chose to ignore established canon.
I'm just disappointed Enterprise got cancelled when it did, because in the following season, if there'd have been a season 6, it would have been the refit NX class. You know, where they got the secondary hull and it looks more like a Constitution class. That would have been great. I never understood what the point of this game was. Is it like a future version of Hungry Hungry Hippos?
The point is to show off your 70s living room. As somebody who grew up in the 70s, this is very 70s.
If you grew up in that area era in the UK, this is kind of like an MFI showroom circa 1980. God, I miss MFI.
Who are they?
Kind of like a pre-IKEA.
Okay.
Yeah, you used to go there on a Sundays to kill time. You know, when everybody was bored and you went out for a ride and you just went into town to look round sofa shops and furniture stores and stuff like that. No, maybe you had a normal childhood.
I wouldn't say normal. I mean, I did get dragged out to go shopping, but I think I was always reading a book.
Yeah, I can relate to that.
Yeah, I never didn't have a paperback in my hand, even through school. I'm like, at least I'm reading, right? That's what my mom said.
Do you know, the weird thing is I was a voracious reader when I was younger. And when I left school and started, working in the real world, I kind of stopped reading fiction. everything was like Haynes manuals and actual factual things. And I've kind of not gone back to fiction, which is weird.
Yeah, you get to that point in life where you put down the 2000 ADs and start reading
Shut
about
up.
the Roman Empire.
No.
Yeah, no.
Technically, I still read fiction then, because I do still read 2000 AD. In fact, I've got a copy of 2000. Which one's this?
No,
Oh.
Z, you're totally right, though. Like, I was not really all that into history when I was in school, but after I graduated, every year I became more and more interested in actual history books, to the point where that was most of what I read, including the Roman Emperor.
Oh,
I
Judge
think part
Dredd.
of it's the lack of bookstores. You would, casually walking through, like, say, here in the United States, a B. Dalton, where you'd come across the book. You're like, oh, well, I was unaware of this book. In the chat, I was talking, with Argentum. That's how I found the Shatner books, The Return and others, where it's like, wait,
do you ever read
there's a
Tech War?
continuation of these stories. And so that's, I kind of kept up with it for a while, reading science fiction and fiction.
Did you ever read Tech War?
I
did not
tried
read
to
it.
read the first one.
I thought that was a good show, to be fair.
Yeah, I
Just
like
out
the
of
TV
interest,
show.
Z, in my hands right now, I've got Judge Dredd magazine, issue 482.
Wow.
And I don't know if you were aware, on Free Comic Book Day, there was a best of 2000 AD, May 2025.
What's that?
Best
I
of
used to
2000 AD.
I used to collect that title back in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah. Well, they
Best
did one
of.
on Free Comic Book Day this year.
Oh, missed it.
It's a good one. Mine's still in the wrapper, though. Both of them are. You've got to keep them in the wrappers. You read them once.
I was going to say, how do you read them if you keep them in the plastic wrappers?
Yeah, but you read them once and then put them back in, you doink. I love this shot of the Enterprise. It's captured, but hey-ho. And I thought this was kind of grapey, Spock doing his thing and that bloke like, I think I
Just doing
read
his
somewhere.
job, man.
Isn't this Chris Doohan?
Yes, both of James Doohan's sons appear in this movie.
Yeah, I didn't know which one, but
I'm sure that's Chris. If somebody can prove me wrong. Oh, well, there's always one person in the chat. Hello, Brian. Spock taking a man from behind. I bet Z can relate to that.
So, yeah, both Montgomery Doohan and Chris Doohan appear as extras in this film.
Yeah. Is this Chris or is this Montgomery then?
I don't know.
Skyfire85 says, I watched Tech War but never read them. I liked Tech War. There was a very young Lexa Doig. I'm not going down that route. I could be here all night. Lexa Doig. Michael Shanks is so lucky.
he's got the 70s porn stash rocking here and there too.
Who has?
Doesn't Chris Doohan have a mustache there?
Well, new rules on the platform. Let's move on. More memory patterns being unearthed. I like that. There's a deep connection with memory, and I'm kind of thinking they're trying to, give people that vibe of, you remember how good Trek was. Look how good this is. I think that's a bit of a mental prompt.
Ooh, yeah, it could be.
Oh, I'm getting a warning in the chat. Franco says, don't start Trev Retro. Leave Lexa alone. I will. That's it. No more Lexa Doig talk. Yeah, so Spock's made his way outside in an emergency thruster pack. And he notice how this is how clever he is. He timed it perfectly to go through the orifice correctly. Have you any experience of timing orifice openings, Z?
Well, if you time it incorrectly, it's just going to impact on the surface, and that doesn't serve anybody. So you've really got to wait till it opens up
Oh,
a little bit.
I've seen plenty of surface impacts that were quite interesting.
You should try. There's a lubricant called Gold Leader. That's usually quite good for surface impacts.
Considering how big the aperture is and how big it gets, there is just a very, very, very incredibly tiny window where Spock wouldn't have fit through it. So I don't know about timing. I think no matter when he would have been able to go through.
Do you know this whole bit past the orifice is just a giant memory storage area, and there's a famous deleted scene of the memory wall where Kirk, when he follows Spock, he gets attacked by memory chips, little like triangular diamondy things, which never made it to the big screen. Ended up on the cutting room floor, but there is evidence out there. But I love this. This could be like the Borg's original world. I know it's not, but it could be a good lead-in. And what baffles me a little bit later on, when Decker says, it fell into what they used to call a black hole. So what the hell was it? What did Voyager 6 fall into?
Well,
Maybe
I
a
think
wormhole.
it emerged. Yeah, the theory at the time was that black holes opened up across the universe into white holes and a wormhole connected them. Did you get any of the concept art from this? Because there is some far out stuff.
There is a ton of it, a lot of Andrew Probert stuff. But no, I didn't put it in just for timing purposes because, putting images and going back to the scenes and stuff like that, it's kind of hard work on StreamYard, to be fair.
Yeah.
But I like this. The visuals some of them are a bit naff, but some of them are really like 2001 level.
Well, you've heard the theory that that's the Borg home planet, and that
I did mention that previously, didn't I?
yeah. Oh, here we
It
go.
would be interesting, though. I think what would do well as maybe a series, maybe like a prequel for like how the Borg started. If that would make a good series of Star Trek.
Yeah, because if this isn't the Borg homeworld, then you have some other sentient race, presumably in the Milky Way galaxy. That's
but it might not be that. Who's to say it's the Milky Way galaxy? Maybe this whole massive ship came back through the same wormhole that V'Ger went through in the first place.
Maybe.
Well, these are I love this about films where they raise more questions than they actually answer.
Well, there was
your imagination thinking about it. It's like, geez, could it be? And you raise a great point. It doesn't have to be. It could be, M87. It could be Andromeda. It could be any number.
Yeah, we already have some aliens from Andromeda. One of the ideas, they didn't know how they were going to end the third act when they were still filming, and one of the ideas was that V'Ger rematerializes everything that he digitized on his way, basically, undoing all of the deaths that happened all along his journey and leaving this massive pollution of his memory across the solar system.
Because it's stated, isn't it, that Spock says it's knowledge and limit spans the universe, which I thought was quite kind of ambiguous. Because there was only like 128 meg tops in Voyager. There wasn't even that, wasn't there? There's more computing power in a Casio calculator than there was in the Voyager probes, and yet they're still running.
They do tend to say galaxy when they mean galaxy, so his saying universe is significant.
Yeah, I notice a lot of ambiguity, isn't there, in descriptions, and none of it's interchangeable.
Well, but we mentioned earlier, the original film said the size of the ship was 82 AUs. So you may have a case, even though Isaac Asimov was a consultant, you may have them inadvertently referring to universe when they mean galaxy because of the scale. And like say with the size of the cloud ring was scaled down to 2 AU, which is still amazing because 1 AU, Earth to the sun would be amazing in and of itself on that scale. But
do you know how big 82 AUs is?
Well, it's past Pluto.
82 AUs. If it was 82 AUs in diameter, it would be over 7.6 billion miles.
Right.
So that's rather implausible, isn't it, for a probe?
On that scale, yeah.
So the maths wasn't right. And as if Spock can interface with a mind meld with a purely electrical entity. Because that was just basically, he'd gone through like an big, huge energy coil. But,
Well, he
you
was
know,
in telepathic communication with it. So there's, we're essentially bioelectrical ourselves.
yeah,
So
there is
there
that.
was something.
If you remember in the original series, he telepathically connected with a lava rock.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. I sent you a sketch, a schematic on how they did the memory wall, Trev. Just
Yeah. Where have you sent that to? On here?
on your Twitter DM.
Right. Okie dokie. Anyway, Brian, for £5, he's wrenched. The reflection of the Pioneer probe's info diagram on Spock's visor is a bit of a spoiler. Right, yeah. Oh, yes. I did not notice that before. Can you see that? The blue.
is that Pioneer or is that Voyager 2?
Well, it says Pioneer's probe.
Well, I know that's what Brian's saying. That's why I'm wondering, because I thought Voyager had a similar.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? It
Male,
has the
female.
gold disc.
Yeah.
That is a good shout, Brian. I did not notice that.
Yeah, with the frozen picture. Yeah, now you see it. But when you're watching it,
There's
I
a
wouldn't have
lot
caught
of
that.
stuff in this film.
Yeah.
But Spock, he's FAFO at this point. You know, he's found out. Oh, Gavin Blackburn in the chat. Behave, man. Behave. But anyway, he comes floating home. Yeah, you find yourself floating home, kid. There's a nod to Star Wars. Oh, there's Kirk. And yet there's more of these airlock port things on the Enterprise than you can actually, them little doors and stuff. They're all like little loading bays. And I like that. There's all little hidden compartments on the Enterprise. Kirk wasn't much use in this scene, was he? He was just there to pick him up and take him back. He's just basically like an Uber. Your boss brings you home. But here we go. The holy trinity of Star Trek. Kirk, Spock, and McCoy.
Yeah,
The
but
head-
it really emphasizes their friendship and the relationship that the captain was willing to go leave the
Yeah.
ship to get his friend back. He didn't
Yeah.
trust anyone else to do it.
The thing is, though, it's always, Kirk always goes to Spock first. Bones is like, he's that friend what hangs on in hope. But here we go. We're getting close to Earth now. Oh, God. That is a very good shout in the chat, Z. I like that.
That's a good one.
I like that. Z says in the chat, if you haven't already seen it, we sent aliens unsolicited nudes and home address.
That'll be. I'm surprised the aliens didn't come back and cancel us.
Thing is, did you notice what they didn't do over the image of the woman?
Cover it up.
There was no black letterbox over her eyes. Mandy from Harrogate.
Oh, we also sent them a mixtape, so I understand why they
Yeah.
might have gotten the wrong impression.
Yeah.
It's funny you should mention that because I watched an animation yesterday called The Gold Disc, which is where an alien buys it in the record shop on an
Nice.
alien planet.
That
Apparently,
is
there are
so
only
cool.
2 of them in the universe. And he plays it back and has a transcendental moment on everything that's on that disc. It's really good. I'll have to dig it out.
Oh, yeah, cool.
Does anybody know who Chief DeFalco is?
I
Yeah,
was
she
trying to
was
figure out throughout the
Ilea's
film. I don't know who she is.
Oh, you mean the actress?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was Shatner's wife at the time.
Oh, wow.
And why is it the thing to put the ship into warp drive is a golf putter? It is, isn't it?
No, it's a Hearst shifter from.
I know where they got that
Guardians.
idea. In fact, it's funny coincidence. They had the exact same mechanism on the Palomino flight console in Black
Oh, yeah.
Hole. Captain Holland gets it out when he's trying to get away from the black hole, and then Harry Booth uses it again when he can't fly the Palomino. Oh, I'd do that. But it's a Mouse House film, and they don't like me doing their stuff. They clamp
you
down
might
on
get
me
taken
quite
down
hard.
over that one. Yeah.
Shatner's
didn't
been
like-
married
Good film, great
4
film.
times.
He has.
Yeah.
It's quite popular getting married. I mean, I've stupidly done it twice. I'm not doing it a third time. In fact, I can't remember the last time I had my wedding ring on. The mark is still there. It's remarkable. It doesn't go. Does
Really?
anybody been?
I
How
haven't
long's
had
it?
mine on for years because I used to get heat spots underneath it, so I stopped wearing it.
How long does it take for the lines to finally go?
I don't know, about 5 years. Mine's
Oh, you're
gone.
joking. I've had my ring off for about 3 or 4 months now, and it's the lines are still there, the tram lines.
So his first marriage was about 15 years. His second one, close to 25, and his last one was
Didn't
20 years. But his third marriage was 2 years.
didn't one of them accidentally have an unfortunate incident in a swimming pool?
I do believe that's how his last marriage ended, right? With Elizabeth.
Maybe so. But we'll not explore that. We'll not boldly go there. But anyway, Vija, it turns out, is looking for his creator. Doesn't realize it's NASA. Does anybody know what NASA stands for? Can I tell you before you give me your answer?
Well,
Sure.
I know the answer, but sure.
Isn't it need another 7 astronauts?
Too soon.
Oh, sorry. It was
Wow.
1986 after all. In
Yeah.
fact, what about this? I think it was Columbia. Columbia disintegrated on my birthday. What a horrible present.
Oh God.
Wow.
Yeah.
No, I had the tube attacks happen on mine, so I can't enjoy my birthday without that
Oh,
misery
that sucks. I'm sorry
showing
about
up
that,
on my
dude.
timeline. Oh, it's okay. There was a 1 in 365 chance.
Well, yeah.
I remember I was in grad school. I was coming out of one of the labs, and a person passed me and goes, "The space shuttle exploded."
Oh, you're
And
talking about Challenger in 86.
Yeah, I didn't believe him, but yep.
We watched
Yeah.
that at school live. Yeah, because of the time difference. The launch there coincided with the afternoon here, obviously. And they televised the launch, and we were sat in our classroom watching it. And when things went pear-shaped, and everybody's like, what's happened there? And I said, that's blown up. And everybody's like, no, it hasn't. I said, it has. It's gone.
Yeah.
Oh, which is such
Hey.
a shame.
Do you remember the scene where they all leave the bridge because he's saying, Vija, you're acting like a child? And
here we go. After these devices are launched, because Vija's basically having a bit of a marred because it can't find its creator, and it sees humans as we just infest Enterprise carbon units. So here's Spock saying, Vija's a child, treat it as such, and then he gets it angry. And then he clears the bridge.
so they had to wait until Gene Roddenberry was off because he didn't want to do the scene. So like several things, they had to wait until he was gone, and Robert Wise filmed it.
Yeah, because there was still this ongoing battle between Harold Livingston and Gene Roddenberry. They're all vying for control. Gene was just itching to get his rubber stamp out with his name on David Livingston's script.
Yeah,
By all rights, this film shouldn't have been made at all.
yeah.
There's so much going against it.
In hindsight, this film could have been done a lot better. But for what we got after a 10-year wait was still fantastic. I mean, this, for me, I loved this film. Everybody hated it. Everybody thought I was a dork because I loved this film. I used to make people watch it all the time, whether they liked it or not. Because, everybody deserves Star Trek in their life. They all wanted Star Wars, but no, none of that. And I caused an argument today at work because we got chatting, and a couple of us said, oh, do you ever notice around Christmas time you always sort of want to watch Star Wars? And it's funny because Matt from Going to the Pictures said the exact same thing on X. And it's always around this time of year I watch Star Wars 1, Star Wars 2, and Star Wars 3. And everybody looks at me confused, and they go, well, what's 1, 2, and 3? And I says, well, now it's called A New Hope. And you've got The Empire Strikes Back, obviously, and Return of the Jedi. No, that's 5, 6, and 4, 5, and 6. And I'm like, no, there's only 3 Star Wars films. There's none of those others exist. Anybody else want to prove me wrong there?
You don't like the prequels?
Nope. And I said that with
I think some of the best fight scenes, because the limitations of the first films are amazing. I
think CGI has been a curse on modern cinema. It has its uses, and like with anything, if it's used in moderation or sparingly, it's quite good. I think directors and movie makers in general should, be forced to use practical effects.
Yeah, but you can't practically have a fight scene on Mustafa, except
Oh no,
Anyway.
I'm not saying that. I'm
Yeah.
saying for like the most part, use the old techniques. Have that reflective tape on spinning poles for your lightsabers, and put everything back in post. I mean, to a degree, what you can do in post is fantastic. But when 98% of your film relies on green screen, is it a wonderful tool for movie makers? Because at the end of the day, I think it's too much. Everything now we've got to a point now where everything has a feel of hyper realism, and it just comes across too fake.
See, I'll take the first 3 films over the last 3
Definitely.
because you're dealing with they're still dealing with canon and building up to the, the real first Star Wars film. The other one's just absolutely obliterated.
Hmm.
So
Oh.
I would argue that there are 6 Star Wars films and the other ones are whatever they are.
Yeah. Ref says, nerd. Oh, wait. Did you say it like an alpha? You've got to do it in the style of ogre. Gentum says we're all dorks. What about it? Yeah, true. True. Can't argue with that. And Punchy. Oh, punchable face. Hello, you. 10-year-old me thought this was boring. Get out.
I think that's what you said earlier, Trev. This was an all or nothing for folks. You either enjoyed it or you didn't.
Yeah, there was no bones about it, to use a phrase there, because this is all we had after a 10-year gap. I mean, I didn't have to wait that long. For me, when Star Trek came to the UK, it was on BBC Two on a Tuesday, and I used to watch it with my parents about 77, 78, wasn't it? Just before Blake Sevensey.
Yeah, wasn't it on BBC Two on a Wednesday?
Well, I said BBC Two on a Tuesday, so we might be half right.
Yeah, I think it was one or the other.
I'm sure it was Tuesday because
I definitely had this penciled in as a regular occurrence. I really got my love of Star Trek from those repeats.
Yeah, because we had to flick over at 8 o'clock for Angels on BBC One. The nurse show.
Mind.
Anyway, moving swiftly on. Kill the stream.
I would watch, when I was a kid, so I didn't get to see the first run. I wasn't old enough, but when they started the second run in reruns, I would, that was great. So every Saturday it would be on. And then, so when the Star Trek cartoons came out in 1973, I'm like, oh man, this is great. And I was really disappointed there was only one season of that.
Yeah.
So this, so for me, Star Trek was already the hook. And, I obviously saw Star Wars when it came out in 77. But when this was one of the films that I also stood in line for, just like I stood in line for Star Wars. This was one I absolutely wanted to see. Same thing with
me too, and I regret nothing.
Yeah, there were 2 seasons of the animated series.
Really?
No, I thought it only aired in 1973.
No, they split. There were 22 episodes, but they split it up into a 16 episode season, and then the year after in 74 they aired the last 6.
Oh, okay.
You've got to love filmation and rotoscoping.
Oh, I love it. I have that on DVD, all the episodes.
Do you know the way He-Man ran like he needed the toilet badly? That was great.
I'm sure everybody here knows this, but they did a couple of the Next Generation episodes in the filmation.
They did a Next Gen and a Voyager. The Threshold episode, didn't they? Where Janeway and Tom Paris evolved into newts, space newts. Yep. We don't mention Threshold.
Exceptionally well done too.
Do you know, I love Threshold until it gets stupid. I thought that was a great idea, a great concept. Anyway, getting back onto what we're supposed to be talking about, another Trev tangent there. Sorry, guys. When this V'ger orifice opened up, and then you get to see like the epicenter of everything, always kind of reminded me like a lit up Stonehenge. Gave me that feel.
Oh yeah,
like mystical and the unknown. But that for scale, just look at the size. That, what did you say it was? 75,000 kilometers long.
97,000 kilometers.
Bloody hell, that is bigger than an AU, because an AU's 93. No, AU's 93 million.
3 million miles, yeah. But it's like 12 Earths next to each other.
Feature. I'm doing it again. For some reason, every time I do that, I'm getting MST3K.
Well, I don't think it's any coincidence that this looks very Stonehenge-esque here. And man, when they walked out of the ship, and that was just that was really an amazing thing.
How good was that when you saw them rise up out onto the bow of the Enterprise? I thought, wow. And I also got Devil's Causeway. Does anybody know stateside about the Devil's Causeway in Northern Ireland, where you get these hexagonal like stones?
Yes, I'm familiar with their work.
Yes, that's very Devil's Causeway, isn't it, Z?
It is very much so.
And I kind of got that inkling. But in the rehashed Director's Edition, you see all these hexagonal shapes combine and form in front of the Enterprise. And I kind of thought, no, that looked a bit naff. Yet again, the overuse of CGI. I read an oxygen gravity envelope forming around the ship. Sorry, that was a really terrible Mr. Chekhov. But yeah, again, that is like you get the vibe of like focal point. That is the epicenter of everything. That is the center of the story right there. That is the conclusion. And then it turns out it's a NASA probe. Do you know anything about probing and Uranus, Z?
I most certainly do.
Nice.
What would you like to know?
I thought I'd give you a plug there.
Isn't it funny for a quick spin around Pluto?
Isn't it funny how you can't actually say the thing directly anymore, but you've got to dance around it? And, I wonder if the new system understands double entendres and the like. I'm guessing it doesn't yet.
How many probes around Uranus? You got to ask.
Don't know. Are there any rings around Uranus, Z?
No, that's Saturn you're thinking of, Trev.
Oh, feature. The reveal was kind of lackluster, but I still thought it was cool because, with all the NASA stuff going on around that time, because NASA really sort of like had a bit of a resurgence with all the probes. They were doing the probe thing in the mid to late 70s.
Oh, it was huge. Yep.
It was great. I loved that. There was always something kicking off on the news, or there was always something they'd made us watch at school about something NASA was doing. And it was just really, and then it kind of died off, and then the shuttle came back, and then the shuttle just ran and ran and ran, and people just got bored with NASA. If I was to live in a parallel universe, I'd want to live in the world where, For All Mankind. I love that show. That's recently been voted as one of the best sci-fi programs of all time. Anyway, turns out that this bit of junk, look at that. That looks like something found in the back in a dumpster at Radio Shack. But it does, though, doesn't it? Somebody's chucked out an old satellite TV dish.
Well, that's what the Voyagers look like, pretty much. They had longer antenna, but this is the fictional 6.
Yeah, there were only 2, though.
Correct.
Yeah.
But the design is amazingly consistent. I like that. And when you're a kid watching this, you're thinking, "Oh, what is this? Is this gonna be Voyager 1, Voyager 2?" And then, like I say, the whole Voyager 6, because obviously doing the whole sci-fi. Something went further than them.
Okay, it does a shaggy Voyager 6, and then I mean, it does get a bit silly towards the end, but it's still fun.
Yeah.
There is a bit of like a sciencey fact. I think, yet again, it was sort of like riding the coattails of all the probe shenanigans from NASA, like I say, during the mid to late 70s. But I like how they've actually got the codes, and Shatner being Shatner, we're the creator. We are the creator. And it just don't like that. So much so, it breaks one of its own cables, doesn't it? So it can't receive that code that they were going to send from the Enterprise.
Yeah, it's going to force a dry hump here.
Yeah, it wants to physically join and meet its creator. And it can only do that Thing is, though, right? If this machine, Vija, and the entities that are similar to it, right? If they don't like carbon units as much as they say they do, why create something in the image of a... Fair enough, yeah, to do some probing. But it turns out in the long run, it's just for a very special kind of cuddle, it says in the book.
Well, the pilot of Star Trek Phase 2 that this was based on was titled In Thy Own Image.
That's right.
There's the antenna, by the way. There we go.
Yeah. And did Gene Roddenberry have his rubber stamper out? Yes, he did. Burns its own cable out so it can't receive the signal to get its creator there, so it can physically join with it. Well, it's lucky, isn't it, for the universe and for Earth especially, that robot chick is Decker's ex. So he's going to... she's essentially... I don't want to say the words, but she's a special kind of doll. A 3-letter doll, for all intents and purposes. Don't do it, Decker. I want the first go. As much as you wanted the Enterprise, Jim, I want this. Damn it, Jim. He might catch a virus. Oh, dear. And Spock's just like, no, you're not doing it, mate.
It's not worth it. It's
Well,
bald.
this is where it kind of Fonzie jumped the shark here. You know, there was all this light and stuff around Decker. And then he joins with Ilea. And then Vija turns into a interdimensional space baby that evolves into another universe or reaches a higher plane of existence. Through
Kinda like Michael
contacting
Shanks,
a
right?
human.
Kind of
Uh,
like
Yeah,
yeah.
it kind of evolved, didn't it? Whether it went on that particular plane of existence is beyond me.
just like
what's
2001 again.
that book? Is it an Isaac Asimov about that computer and they're looking for the answer to everything in the universe? And it exists in a higher dimension and it tells the last human what it needs to know. And I don't know. I can't remember that book. I'm sure it's.
Well,
an
he has a
Asimov.
bunch of short stories with the robots. The whole.
I'm
Part of
hoping
iRobot?
somebody in the chat tells me which book that is.
Oh, I'm trying to remember myself. 'Cause I have them all.
Yeah, it's familiar, isn't it? You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, but I can't remember the name of the book.
Yeah. But that effect there for 1979, I thought that was amazing. Although the lightning did let it down.
This was created by them filming particles of aluminum dust and glitter through high intensity lights and layering the footage over the scenery.
Do you want to be in my gang? Oh, Flavius says the last question. I'll have to go
Yep.
through my books. Does that sound about right, Gamer?
Yes.
Right, there we go. I'm going to have to reread that. In fact, I think over Christmas, I'm not going to say the holiday season, because I don't agree with that, because it's Christmas. I'm going to read all the Arthur Clarke, C. Clarke 2000 series. I think I'm going to treat myself to that. I haven't done that for a while. Treat myself to some fiction.
I read 2001 and 2010. I didn't read the third book. Was it 2042 or whatever it is?
I thought it was 62 off the top of my head, or
Could be.
2060.
Yeah, I didn't read.
And
that
then there's
third book.
3000. Is it 3001 A Space Odyssey? Where
Yeah.
they bring Frank Paul back.
Oh, see, I didn't know that. Oh, that's
Oh,
interesting.
sorry. Oh, crap. Oh, sorry, Gamer. You don't need the book now. I've just told you what happens.
Yeah, but
Spoilers.
when I was reading that book, the way they introduced that was really cool. And then when you find out who it is, you're kind of like jumping up with joy. Oh my, he was just floating out over by Neptune and bumps into a comet farmer.
Yeah. Hal basically cryogenically froze him. It's a kind of Buck Rogers situation, a perfect balance of chemicals. So anyway, this is Vija turning itself into a higher dimension. In the proper version, not the rehashed director's edition, where we just get this amazing light show, all those devices, what we're going to destroy Earth, vanish. And the beauty shot at the end, this is one of two, where the Enterprise just is just over Earth. And I thought, wow, this was just, honestly, You know how you get that warm and fuzzy feeling, and you're like, I don't know, I can't quite describe it. Where it's like it gives you a bit of completeness.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
That's the
what
feeling I
happened to
got.
all of the viewership, man? The thing was enormous. Where'd it go?
It's gone into a higher dimension. But just look at that, and yet again, lit appropriately for space. It's just relying on its own running lights there.
I wonder if
Yeah,
this was a
see,
poster you could have gotten at the time, for framing, because that's an amazing shot.
It
yeah, I
is.
think it actually was. The writers of Ironheart need to reference what iconic really means, and that's
Yeah.
that right here.
Mhm.
Yeah. That is great. A lot of people, I think, they're moaning at me for giving away the plot of things. I do apologise if you haven't read that particular book.
It's okay.
Anyway, did we just see the beginning of a new life form? And McCoy's like, yeah, it's been a long time since I've delivered a baby, and I hope we got this one off to a good start. What? So Ilea's pregnant? What? How does that happen? I like that. Go that away.
In
It kinda
Trevor's defense, it was a 30-year-old book, so
Yeah,
you know.
fair enough. I'm sorry. But yeah, again, when the beauty shot before it went into warp, that was like, whoa. I know they reused it in Wrath of Khan, but seeing this for the first time, it was like, whoa. And yet, the human adventure is just beginning. Really? Really? He did a robot, and they had a kid. So what happened to that? They never expanded on this any further in the rest of the extended universe or canon.
Nope,
This
they
just
did not.
happened, and then that was it. And that it's kind of lacking in a way. They could have, like in Star Trek 6, there could have been Decker and Ilea's child as the navigator. But no,
Well,
I think they kind of used that. I don't know. Maybe 7 of 9 was just like a rip off of that idea as a concept. A human hybrid who's got an eidetic memory and she's super clever and big jugs and skin Peter tight suits.
Well, like I said, maybe it went to a higher plane, and the reason they didn't go any further with it, because like I say, with Rick Berman and everyone, that with all the knowledge of the universe that the probe had, so it became this new life form that obviously has all this knowledge. If humanity had it, it's kind of the whole Asgard interaction with the Tari, that we can't share this information, or with the Tolan, you'll destroy yourselves.
Oh,
Yeah,
That's the way I would look at it.
God, what a
And
shame. Sorry. Go on.
just dealing with godlike creatures of that immense knowledge and power level, it's really difficult to write in a narrative from a narrative perspective, because why would you explore if they already have the ultimate knowledge and ultimate power? So it's kind of the usual thing is to shuffle them off to the side like the Organians. You don't really, it's hard to deal with omnipotence and omniscience in science fiction. So what would you do with them if you brought them back? Kind of thing.
Yeah, there is that, I guess. Yeah, you make a valid point.
It's like those little bug aliens from Conspiracy in season 1 of TNG. You never see them fuckers again, either.
Yeah.
Well, that's episodic.
What we
TV
wish is
too.
peaceful coexistence. You mean those ones?
Those ones.
The nipple necks.
Those were proper horror things.
That made me laugh. The old admiral, when he goes into the turbo. No, when he starts fighting Worf, and he goes, "Come on, Klingon. What's a Klingon?" He calls them by the old names, because every now and again in the original series they call them Klingons, wouldn't they, instead of Klingons?
Yeah, I think it's just their accent. They never really addressed when the Klingons and the humans were allowed to fight again, because the Organians shut down that entire war using their omnipotent powers.
They did indeed.
By the time Star Trek 6 rolls around, so when did they shut that thing off and let them fight again? It's episodic TV. They don't generally have the kind of continuity that we're used to now with the long form story. And I miss episodic television, because you only need to get
television.
one.
You mean?
Absolutely. It's important to put that qualifier there too.
Hey, do you want some good news before we wrap up? I want to thank everybody in the chat. I want to especially thank Brian, who gave us a tenner in super chats tonight, and Melv, who chucked us a pot knacker at £2. Thank you ever so much. Every little helps, because between me, you, and the fence post, kind of struggling a little bit financially. We're running the channel, but we'll see if things pick up after Christmas. I know pennies are tight at the moment, and I appreciate everything everybody gives the channel. Now, I want to thank Z, and Gamer, and Phobos. Guess what? We're back next week for Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan.
Oh, the best one.
Yep.
Anyway, I want to thank you guys. I want to thank everybody else and everybody else on the re-rub. If you enjoyed the video, please give us a like and maybe a subscribe. It really does help the channel grow. We've had a good bit of growth recently, but it's kind of going backwards again. It's funny that there seems to be a lot of things going off behind the scenes, if you know what I mean. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. I'm going to play you a nice video. Next Tuesday on Trek December, it's Kirk versus Khan. Is this the best one in the entire franchise? Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, next Tuesday, the 9th of December, only on the Trev Retro channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss out. Thank you to everyone that helps support the channel. If you'd like to help, go over to Patreon right now. It's patreon.com/Trev Retro.